Let's have a shot at history. If your name is Martin Kroenke, he has equaled Gregor Hutu's 14 wins in a row in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and today he looks to make it 15 and put himself right at the top of the mountain in terms of prestige and everything. And this is a track that will really test a lot of drivers today. We're here at Phillip Island for round number 2 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and this is a track that can catch many a driver out. Turn 1 is so fast that you're almost flat out. Turn number 2, well, it's very difficult. 180-degree left-hander, and the track only gets more difficult from there. Qualifying is taking place right now here at Phillip Island for the second round of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. It's Will Vincent along with Jonathan Simon and Jake Sperry. We've got Jack Stars also on social media. Track length is 4.4 kilometers, 12 turns, 69 laps is what we're doing here today. And well, Jake, this is going to be very interesting.
It certainly is. If Fibonacci wanted to design a circuit, the ever-decreasing radius of these corners would certainly make it a treat to behold for his paradise. And what we've seen so far is that it's been about who can deal with Martin Kroenke, who can deal with him the most. But right now in qualifying, there is a challenger. Freddie Rasmussen, number 19, FA Racing G2. He's put the gauntlet down to Martin Kroenke. He will sit and wait for the benchmark times to come in. He'll go out with about 4 minutes to go, Will. And then he'll decide, I'm going to go, let's say, 4/10 faster. That's the sort of thing Martin Kroenke does, right?
Yeah, and this is really, really big. It's only one thing up to P number 11, Johnny, in terms of this event and what is happening, because this could be history in the making. And Freddie Rasmussen, could you imagine if FAG2 Racing break the streak? It would be like The Undertaker and WrestleMania.
Yeah, so it'd be great to see a new team and also another driver for the first time in over, not even since 2016, since Gregor Hutu won Nürburgring back in 2016. We haven't had a different winner other than Martin Kroenke. So let's see if it can happen today. But Kroenke's on that trademark, waiting the pits. Now he's out there ready to set a lap, and he should be... Piatella goes second there, so I've accidentally clicked on Piatella because that's tricked me. Piatella's jumped up to second. Wow. I think Kroenke will be able to jump that soon, but man, has Piatella improved qualifying. That's what he's always needed to work on.
And Marty Piatella is one of those drivers here, Jake, who, when he gets it right, he gets it right. He reminds me, actually, he's the Coanda version of Luke McLean, because McLean, when he was running in Team Redline, he'd always be good at certain tracks. This is one here, I think Piatella is someone you've got to look out for. And could you imagine if it's going to be Piatella who takes away Kroenke's crown? That's going to be a fascinating conversation in terms of the Coanda camp.
Oh, it certainly would be, as Tommy Erstgaard looks to try and drive for the line. Hasn't set a lap time as of yet, has number 1 Norwegian. He does an 18.5. That's a very slow lap time, so that's clearly an out lap as he looks to set his final flying lap. P4 at the moment with only 1 lap as well. Alexei Usiakala, Team Redline. He will look to make something very interesting out of this event here, Will. And also yet to set a lap time is Jamie Fluke. Any one of those drivers can break the throne of Rasmussen and Piatella. Just 0.5 of a second splits pole.
Yeah, and currently right now we are looking at your top 10 drivers being classified within 1/4 of a second. This is actually on the shortest tracks in terms of time and shortest track in terms of the race that will be done in this series, Johnny. So you got to make it work very, very quickly here, as Ilkka Happala is on track right now, and he is currently in P number 11 in the Orion race team car. Going slowly then on an outlap right now. Peter Berriman now up into P number 4.
Yeah, Berriman, he's always been quick in qualifying, so he needs to sort himself out come race time to earn some great results, of course. But you talk about this circuit, Will, long radius corners, only a few slow hairpins out there. It's really all about traction at Phillip Island, and as well as ERS management. You know, it's all changed this year in terms of how they manage it. It's much more automatic as Hutu now climbs to P3 in qualifying above Kroenke, but look out for that as well. There's excessive undulation, elevation change up to 28 meters here as well, so especially going to turn 10 and above Lukey heights at turn 9, that's where the track gets ever so challenging.
On board a Kazuki Omishima, number 43 Radicals Online machine. He's one of those drivers that if he can step up he can really be a factor as well. We know that Radicals, of course, have gone through so much over the last 2.5 years or so. Now sponsored by Six Sideways. They've removed the sponsorship from Steel Series. That's one of the things, actually, Jake, that for many years, like Steel Series and Radicals were one thing. They've got themselves new sponsors now. Ashton Race, of course, as well as Six Sideways, and Joe Real Timing on the car as a bit of dust there picked up by Kazuki Umeshima as it worked himself into Luke Heights.
Don't forget Cranfield Simulations as well. Into MG corner, turn number 10. Very, very difficult downhill braking zone. Big sideways and 6 sideways around. Kazuki Umeshima tried to catch the tank. The tank slapped on him.
Wow. Yeah, we can make the joke about 6 sideways on that one there, Jake, because, and that's the thing, is that corner that he lost it at, it's one of those corners that is going to be a key factor in the race today. Coming down from Lukey Heights into MG corner, and the run through the final 2 corners, people think that the final couple of corners are easy. They're not.
They're not, and let's not forget here in qualifying, we've got a 20km/h wind coming from the south. It's a crosswind. It is hurting drivers when they try and pick up that run. It gets caught up in the aero, and very quickly a machine turns itself around. Either to Mitchell de Jong, he's not set a lap time as of yet. He's got one chance, one opportunity to move up from the back of the field.
Yeah, and so Jamie Fluke currently also in P number 32. De Jong, we go on board of him right now as he works himself. Where is this on track? Towards turn number 3 here. So let's actually go on board here tonight with the driver of Mitchell de Jong and talk us through the middle stage of this racetrack.
Well, it's very slow through this section. You need all the traction out of Honda corner. But then here's where you get to this middle part of the lap. You go through Siberia, 7 and 8, trying to straight line this as much as possible. But here's where the challenge comes up. Into Lukey Heights. Widen the apex. You want to hit that little middle apex there and then straighten the car for the downhill braking zone into MG. Flat curb. So definitely take the curb there. Here's where the curb has a little bit of a bump. Don't take that. Don't end up like Kazuki Umeshima, who ended up sideways on his lap and full throttle to this last section of the racetrack. There is so much grip. And that Coanda SimSport car, possibly P1 for de Jong. He begins his lap. There we go.
Oh, yes! Mitchell de Jong then takes over Freddie Rasmussen. This is one of the best qualifyings I think we've seen in a long time. Yeah. And now pit road Johnny's about to get really busy.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's de Jong's qualifying session done. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Marty Piatella has a lap on his hands. So does Hutu. So does Kroenke. Peter Berryman as well. So does Alexei Usiakala. Those guys, Josh Rogers, don't forget him. They're all saving it to the last seconds. It's awfully close. They haven't used their laps limit at the moment.
Yeah, so de Jong leads from Freddie Rasmussen, Marty Piatella in 3rd, Gregor Hutu in 4th, and Martin Kroenke in P number 5. Well, the issue is here, Jake, they're not going to make it because they're not going to come up. They've not come out of pit road. It is going to be de Jong with pole position.
It's close, isn't
silence time. This is going to be.
Yeah.
They will not be able to now, Jake, get out of pit road, do a lap, and come back around. Mitchell de Jong has pole position for the 2nd round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and all of a sudden, business has really picked up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to go on here. I think, yeah, everybody's left. They're not going to make it in time, so how about that? Mitchell de Jong on pole. More importantly, Kroenke has to start from 5th, Will, at the moment, unless any driver, such as Josh Rogers, who I'm going to point out, forgot to register for last race, so we don't know if he'll even be starting from that 8th position. But my goodness, this is as interesting a starting grid as I've seen in some time. You've got a rookie in Freddie Rasmussen, who we call him a rookie, Will, but he's a world champion elsewhere.
Yeah, well, we talk about 2021, and of course, you did it on the Simone Racing Report and talked about who will be world champion in 2021. And Freddie Rasmussen is going to be one of those drivers in that conversation. And let's put the results up and talk about this for a minute, because this is literally one of the most exciting grids in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And it's Mitchell de Jong with pole position for VRS Coanda SimSport. 2nd place will be Freddie Rasmussen from the FA Racing G2 Logitech G car. Then you got yourself Martin Piatella, Coanda SimSports in 3rd. Gregor Hutu in 4th place. The third co-handed sim sports driver is Martin Kroenke. Who would have ever thought that? Peter Berryman in P number 6. Alexei Yakola in 7th. Joshua Rogers in 8th. Big Short Horse in 9th. And Ollie Packler rounding out your top 10. 2 Team Red Line drivers at the rear of your top 10. We turn the page over and we'll see in P number 11 is Antoine Higelin. In P number 12 will be Kevin Ellis Jr. Matt Backham 13th. James Fluke 14th. Ilka Harpala 15th. Marcus Jensen, Kazuki Umishima, David Williams, Stephen Michaels, and Balance Remniak then round out your top 20. Rest of the results coming up on your screen. We're going to bring in our social media expert, who is Jack Stiles. And Jack, what has just happened?
I'm not really sure. I don't know. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably joining us for a race which not many of us will forget in any distant future. Martin Kroenke has probably just made a massive mistake. He's got to start from 5th. Obviously, I will be running social media for all of today, so get involved. We will be on the RaceSpotTV Twitter. Just tweet us. It's hashtag IWCGPS for today. So all you need to do is get social with us and follow the race along with there. So I'm going to be reporting as the race goes on, and it's going to be an exciting race. I can already tell that.
This is going to be an amazing race. And what we've got here, Johnny, is there's a number of different pictures that's going to be going on. Mitchell de Jong from pole position is actually one of those drivers who's very, very hard to beat. Then you got Freddie Rasmussen in P number 2. Marty Piatella with one of those Marty Piatella style qualifyings when he pulls it out the bag. Hutu in P number 4. And we're going to have Hutu versus Kroenke. And I think it's going to be the first time that Kroenke is going to have to pass Hutu on the racetrack in almost a year.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. What I'm also hearing too, for those who are looking for answers on why drivers only set one lap, it's really because the pit lane exit is before the start line. And so, therefore, those drivers... As you look at Mitchell de Jong, he actually went on a 2-lap stint there to set pole, which was even more incredible, Will, because that first lap, a 1:35, which is why he was last, very, very slow. Then that second lap,
Johnny, stop. Yeah, give us 1 second here, ladies and gentlemen, on RaceSpotTV. We'll be back in...
The drivers with ERS were struggling to make 2 laps work, and that's why all drivers elected for 1 lap. And the reason you couldn't set those 2 laps, if you didn't hear me before, I'll repeat it again, is just simply because the pit lane exit is before the start finish line, and that's what makes this so difficult. I'm talking to Jamie Fluke at the moment, who qualified down the order outside the top 10, and he's mentioning that to me at the moment post qualifying, is that's why drivers elected for the 1 lap strategy. Fluke went for the 2 laps, but he thought the ERS wouldn't last for those 2 laps, so definitely was preference.
Yeah, preference indeed. And also one of the things about the qualifying here today, Jake, is that it was highly windy. It was about as windy as someone's grandma on Christmas Day.
Yes, you can say that, but I think that played a factor into some of the lap times we were seeing. More drivers were making more mistakes than what they normally would, and for a series as high and as prestige as this, to see that amount of mistakes in qualifying, I think it really caught a lot of drivers off guard today, just how much effort you need to put in, and I think that showed in the qualifying results.
Yeah, it is indeed. And let's just show you these top 10 once again, because I don't think in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series we have had a grid that is as fascinating to look at as this. De Jong, pole position, Freddie Rasmussen second. And let's talk about Freddie Rasmussen and the FA Racing GT Logitech G car for a moment here, Jake, because, you know, they have so far been second place on a couple of occasions, but they've not got themselves the victory. This could be that chance for Freddie Rasmussen to actually make that step up and make FA Racing GT Logitech G a real contender. And I mean a real contender in the World Championship Grand Prix Series.
And I think this is where Freddie Rasmussen needs to decide where he wants to challenge this year, because if he's going to spread his resources so thinly, I don't see him making a title challenge. He didn't have the best of qualifyings. He's had to spend a race getting up to speed, and of course he had that incident with Marty Piatella, let's not forget, at the last round. So he has to go out there. He has to go now and score. And effectively, he's got to go out there and play the perfect game for the next 13 rounds of the championship, because there's no way that Martin Kroenke, I don't think, is retiring unless something happens to him. I don't see Mitchell de Jong in that same boat either. It's going to come down to who makes the least mistakes, and I am afraid to say it, Freddie Rasmussen's already made one this season.
Yeah, and of course, Freddie Rasmussen, we talk about him having to work hard. He's got to work harder than an 18-year-old kid in a nightclub today to get himself a victory in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But Piatella here, Johnny, this is the one that I've circled in my mind. Piatella's never won a race in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but he's very rarely qualified this high. And now you've got yourself de Jong, Piatella, and Kroenke, Volvera, Car Sim Sports inside the top 5. And for Kroenke, of course, he's the last of those 3 drivers. Do you think that we're going to have 3 different strategies going on for Coanda to try and get one of them to win?
Well, that's a big question. Last round, we were talking about 4 stops, 7,000 stops, however many it was. It didn't turn out that way. But in all honesty, it will be a 2 to 3 stop race today. So you could see the option of maybe Kroenke electing for a 3 stop. This track isn't the easiest to overtake at, but it isn't the hardest either. It's one of those in the middle ground circuits. You just need to have a lot of straight line speed. But look, it's a great question you bring up. We'll wait and find out during the race. Track temperatures will make a difference. For qualifying, it was 39 degrees out on track. If it remains the same, look, I'm still expecting a 2-stop. It's the quickest way around here. The pit lane's pretty long as well. So, look, in all honesty, I think we'll just have to wait and see for the race. We have no data from Coanda, and I don't think they'd want to reveal it to us anyway.
Yeah, one of the things as well there, Jake, when we talk about Coanda, of course, I think that they are not going to use team orders. We talk about team orders every so often, but Kroenke, in my opinion, would rather lose to a teammate than win through team orders.
I think that's just indicative of Martin Kroenke's character. He wants to win, and he wants to win his way. He doesn't take freebies. He doesn't get by with taking the sample size. He's someone who will want to go and be the real deal, and he's proved 14 times in a row that he is the real deal. The question is now, and we've seen it before with his qualifying efforts when he hasn't done so well, that he still has been able to make those positions, and make the positions early as well. Let's also remember, Will, the last time Martin Kroenke was overtaken on track was Monza last year.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big talking point here today, whether or not Kroenke can work himself through the field. I think it'll be easy if he gets up to rear Piatella. Piatella will let him by. However, there's a 5-time world champion, the number 66 machine of Gregor Hutu, that needs to be involved in that conversation as well. Well, Johnny, for a long time, we've been talking as if Gregor Hutu hasn't even existed in the World Championship Grand Prix Series. I mean, he's a 5-time champion, but he struggled. Ever since the McLaren MP30 has come up, he has struggled. But now, this is a time where Hutu is ahead of Kroenke. I mean, Hutu can just slap him around the face and say, you know what? My race.
Yeah, you want to do that as a driver. It does get really competitive. But, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Bringing in a new car to the series, as a driver, that's a great reset point to your ambitions and your career. And Martin Kroenke took on the challenge, and he's been the most dominant in the McLaren. Now Hutu's come in with regained sort of motivation. He's attended these first 2 rounds. He's qualified well as usual. But I like this kind of end of the era Gregor Hutu, the 38-year-old who now is fighting for victories rather than just leading from pole, winning every race, the sort of Schumacher-Ferrari era that we saw in Formula 1. This is great. I like this end of series Hutu. He's got nothing else to prove. He's going to be one of the greatest sim racers of all time for the next 100 to 200 years if sim racing continues for that long. I have definite hopes that it will. But he's got nothing else to prove, and this is exactly, he's the Fangio of sim racing. You know, he's the one who set the scene for the whole championship.
Got some wars going on social media right now. We've got ourselves on one hand people fighting for Team Redline here today, some people going for Coanda. Ironically, no one's yet said that Freddie Rasmussen and FIG2 Racing 2 are going to be your winners here today. And Govan Keeney, we're here to be analysts, buddy. let us do our talking. As having a look down as well, let's talk about a couple of the other teams. Peter Berryman and P number 6 there, Jake, for Apex Racing, and the number 69 machine. Great qualifying by him. Of course, the question always with Apex Racing is whether or not they've got themselves the tyre life that they can do over a full run, because that's been their big issue, really, for the last 2 years.
It has, and we saw glimpses of how they can improve, but we also saw that most of the Apex Racing UK drivers went for the 3-stop when it came to Interlagos. So maybe there is something still there with the tyres, that they're not going as long as they want, and they had to do that extra stop. In the long run, it probably cost them a little bit more, a la Jamie Fluke, for example. Berryman, I think, is very, very intelligent. I think he knows exactly what he needs to do today, and being in position number 6 when you've got 7 world championships in front of you for the next 2 positions, I'd relish a chance to get a cat in amongst the pigeons. I don't know about Berryman.
Yeah. Let's talk about disappointments in qualifying here today, because there's a few of them. Johnny, that
Marcus Jensen.
Marcus Jensen's one. Isaac Price is one. Tommy Osgaard was one, and Alex Simpson is one as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, Alex Simpson. Gosh, I don't know what's happened with Alex there. He's all the way down the field. Tommy Osgaard, 10 seconds off the pace. I'm pretty sure that was a mistake. He's definitely not that slow. I mean, but Marcus Jensen's the big one for me. Outside the top 10, I mean, I know guys like Jamie Fluke made a mistake. Backham's pretty much down the order as well, but Marcus Jensen, you know, the young man, sometimes you just have these results. There's no reason to over panic about this. So, yeah, no reason to cause a whole storm. He did qualify 6th in round 1, and he did qualify 2nd actually last year for the final round at Kota. But more importantly, Will, I want to bring up just quickly the good side. Freek Schotos, Olli Pakala, 2 red line drivers. They're in the top 10. Brilliant to see those 2 qualifying well.
Yeah, and for Olli Pakala, he's one of those drivers that, Jake, he admits he's not good at qualifier. And he's in that same camp as Marty Piatella. If he can qualify well, he'll be good in the race. And he has qualified inside the top 10 here today. So for Olli Pakala, he's one that is going to be worth watching. Freek Schotos as well, and P number 9, number 21 machine. And I've been very outspoken about Schotos, of course, over the last couple of years. But I think this is a chance for him to get top 5 here today.
It is for Freek, and I think that Freek now is starting to gear up into this season. I think he knows what's expected of him, and he understands now that he's got to perform at red line. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck in the doldrums of unfulfilled potential. I will say with Olli Pakala as well, I think his qualifying would have been even better had he not given birth to a Mustang.
Yes, indeed. Actually, whilst we talk about elephants in the room, let's talk about another elephant in the room, Jake. There's people that once upon a time joked about someone getting an iRacing tattoo. And now, challenge accepted, challenge completed.
Oh, dear. Well, it's a shame that Steve Myers weighed in and said that they're right in the middle of a new logo design, but, you know, by the by.
I've got another half of my chest for that.
Yeah, you didn't leave room for a Gregor Hutu tattoo.
No,
have you left room for that?
Yeah,
where are you going to put that one?
That's going to go on the back one day. Actually, for the record, I did actually get a second tattoo. So it wasn't just me getting an iRacing tattoo, but for those of you who are wondering if it's fake or not, it is not fake, Johnny.
No, it's not fake. You know which tattoo I'm going to get, actually? It's the big M word, motivation. I'm going to get it tattooed all over my rear end. Hey, it'll have 4 letters on the left one and then whatever letters remaining on the right one.
Yeah. So we are just a couple of minutes away here from the start of the 2nd round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And that means it is time for predictions. I'm going to start with Mr. Social Media, Jack Styles. Who's going to win here today?
I'd want to say Kroenke, because he can take the most wins ever for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series here, but I don't know whether he's going to be able to do it. If it's going to be anyone else, I think it could be Freddie Rasmussen. He's shown potential, and I think today might be his day.
Jake, go.
And the streak goes marching on.
Oh.
Wow. Johnny?
I'm going to say Mitchell de Jong. I think the streak's over. Go, Mitchell. I think you can do it.
We've got Drew Adamson here, I think, from iRacing. I'm going to ask him the question, and he's not going to respond to me, so we'll talk about that one in the race coverage itself. But qualifying is over, and it's now time for what could well be one of the most exciting races in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are live from Phillip Island Circuit for round number 2. Mitchell de Jong on pole position, Freddie Rasmussen in second place, and Marty Piatella in third. That is your qualifying top 3. We will step aside for a quick moment. We'll be back with more after this. Are you ready for it?
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome to Australia, welcome to Phillip Island, and welcome to round number 2 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and what is potentially one of the most anticipated races in the history of the World Championship Series. Because qualifying today was topsy-turvy, it was confusing, it was fantastic. We got ourselves a Mitchell de Jong on pole position, Freddie Rasmussen second, Martin Piatella in third. Fourth place is going to be the driver of Gregor Hutu. Fifth place, it's the guy that's won 14 in a row, Martin Kroenke. If he wants to make history, he's going to have to do it the hard way, starting from P number 5 on the grid, and this is going to be one of the greatest races that you've seen ever on iRacing. Will Vinson, Jake Sperry, Jonathan Simon, Jack Stars on social media, and I will tell you one thing, Jake, I have never been excited for a race like this, because this really is the perfect storm.
It is, and the last time we were here, Will, the last time we were at Phillip Island, it was Team Redline's only ever 1, 2, 3. You'd think that this is a Coanda track. This is probably the weakest track that Martin Kroenke's had, because I don't think Martin Kroenke's ever had a win here, Will.
Yeah, I agree. 20 degrees Celsius here today, 60% humidity, 26 km/h winds, Johnny. Oh, it's windy out there.
Yeah, I've been to this circuit out in real life, and believe me, it's windy. It's got a great view, though. The commentary booth at the top is one of the best you'll ever go to as well. And, of course, we know this hosts a round of the MotoGP World Championship 2, so it is up to World Championship standards. It's very smooth as well in some sections, but I'm really looking forward to this race, as you said, Will. You've hyped it up. I'm ready for it. And most importantly, who knows who's going to win this? Is it going to be Kroenke who's going to continue the win streak? Is it going to be Hutu returning to victory lane? Is it going to be someone else? For God's sake, finally. Let's see.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to a few people before we go any further. First of all, this one about our trackcam22.com for our TV cameras, Andres One and One Design for our overlay design, overlay animation to Simon Graceman and AppGenius.in, Nick Thisson for RaceSpotTV, live timing and scoring. That'll be with you throughout the course of the race. Don't forget as well, you can check out the Sim Racing Observer for the official write-up from the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, as well as the Simone Racing Report. Catch all the latest news, interviews, juicy gossip from the Simone Racing Report, and also the Sim Racing Observer did a fantastic piece on what goes on behind the scenes here at RaceSpotTV and what it takes to be a commentator for the biggest sim racing series in the world. 2.5 minutes remaining in qualifying, Jake, and wow, this is going to be fun.
And it's 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, Will. We haven't talked about the fact that Josh Rogers has been loaned to Burst Esports from TTL, and we haven't talked about the fact that Moritz Lohner right now is a free agent.
Yes. Talk about it. Go!
Well, Moritz Lohner left Hoixing Velcor Motorsports in what is arguably the most shocking move, I think, of the season so far, and that's a big statement to say when you consider that 10 left Iberica and areas around that. I think they're going to a very, very good team. One that I know, but I can't say, is Kazuki Umeshima again goes around at turn 11. And I think that Josh Rogers is deciding that he wants to be Riley Preston, but only a few years later.
Yes, indeed. One of the things here now, as we build up to the start of this motor race, is trying how are these guys going to get off from the start? Because turn number 1 and the run down into that 180-degree left-hander at 2 is going to be fast, but it can take casualties.
Yeah, and the updates to the car over the past 2 weeks have also been made. So now it's going to be a much more even field in terms of the start. Double clutch, of course, as usual. So you're not going to see maybe the poor starts of a Sebastian Job, for example, like we've seen in the past. Regardless of that, he's not even racing today, so it doesn't matter. But that's going to be important. But I think it's not quite a difficult start for the drivers. It's more difficult just trying to manage yourself into turn 1. That's where Marty Piatella's coming in now. If you're on the outside line, you want to make sure you're not 3 wide. That's when you have to back out as a driver, but you want to have that inside line heading into the southern loop in turn 2. You want to be on that dark part of the tarmac where all the grip is, Will. That's the most important part for the start, because that first real overtaking spot actually comes at turn 4, Honda corner, the hairpin.
Yeah, you're right. Here's your grid then for the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And on the front of the field, it is Mitchell de Jong then, qualifying in a time of 1 minute 6.591. Freddie Rasmussen then alongside him on the front row of that grid. Third place will be Martin Piatella. Fourth place, well, that belongs to the 5-time world champion of Gregor Houtu. We cycle it on back, and it will be Martin Kroenke in P number 5, Peter Burman in P6, Alexei Yusiakola in 7th, and Joshua Rogers in P number 8. Ninth place, that will go to Frank Shawhorse, and then P number 10 to Ollie Pakula. It's time for the race, because the lights are about to come on. Antoine Hegelin in P number 11, Kevin Ellis Jr. in P number 12. Cycling on back even further, you've got yourself Matt Backham in 13th place, Jamie Fluke in 14th, Ilka Happel and Marcus Jensen, P number 15 and 16, Kazuki Umeshima and David Williams, 17 and 18, Stephen Michaels in 19th place, and Balas Remniak rounding out your top 20. Live timing and scoring for this race will be available after the conclusion of the first lap. Don't forget, you can check us out on social media as well, at RaceSpotTV on Facebook, and also at RaceSpotTV on Twitter. We are going to have so much fun. This is going to be one of the best races you've ever seen in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. The drivers are lining up right now. We'll have a look from our overhead cameras, brought to you by And1 Design. It's going to be one of the shortest races in the history of the World Championship Grand Prix Series in terms of time. The race will only go about an hour and 10 minutes. The lights go on top of the scoring pylon, and the lights are going to go out, and we are going to go racing for round number 2 of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. And let's have a look as the cars come over the hill. Mitchell de Jong versus Freddie Rasmussen in towards turn number 1. Fantastic start then by the driver of Mitchell de Jong. We've got side-by-side going on for P number 2. Piatella is up into that second place right now, and that puts the driver of Freddie Rasmussen then down more position because he spun around and he's lost it. One driver losing out big time already, and that is the driver of Freddie Rasmussen. I told you it was going to be a fantastic start to this event. We go on board with Freddie Rasmussen right now. He's gone off down at turn number 1, and it's game over for him there, Jake.
Absolutely game over. Josh Rogers off as well, the hometown boy, the only hometown boy. He just got a bit of contact from Martin Piatella, very aggressive into turn number 1. The saga continues between the pair of them. Rasmussen's out of this event, and now it's about who makes positions. Coanda 1-2-4. Houtu, though, was the man on the charge off the start.
Yeah, and Hutu's currently running in that third position as they work themselves right now towards the end of the first lap here, Johnny. Houtu right now in P number 3, and he has the advantage of a half a second over Martin Kroenke.
He has to make sure he gets past Piatella instantly, because we know de Jong's going to have the quicker race pace, and at this stage DRS not enabled. But at the start, Houtu had the best launch, as Jake said. He was just boxed in by the Coanda of Piatella, and I had no idea what happened to Freddie Rasmussen. Just went straight off the racetrack. He's out of the race at the moment. No FA Racing G2 car in that top 2 anymore.
No, and that's going to be huge then from the FA G2 racing team not being in the races. Kevin Ellis Jr., by the way, losing a position to Jamie Fluke. So 2 Apex cars swapping positions. Live timing and scoring is available. Visit RaceSpot.tv/timing. And well, we knew it was going to be an interesting race to start as Ricardo Orozco also is now out of the event. But Mitchell de Jong has had a perfect, picture-perfect start to this race here, Jake, as he works himself through Lukey Heights once again into that very hard downhill right-hander. And de Jong has done everything he needs to do at the start, and Piatella going wheel to wheel there. There was not contact between Piatella and Rasmussen, but Piatella in P number 2.
Yeah, Martin Piatella then up into second position. We haven't seen a result as good as this from Piatella since Spa-Francorchamps just a year ago. So we've seen how Martin Piatella can be quick, can race himself up at that high level, but with now DRS in activation and within 1 second, it's going to be now about who maintains the train. Because the thing is with this circuit, Will, it isn't as easy to break away 1 second because all the corners are relatively medium to high speeds, except for maybe Honda. That just allows things to happen. He's actually running wide to Martin Piatella. Houtu had a look now to Siberia, and he's not going to get the chance. Now Kroenke thinks about the offensive.
Yeah, so Hutu currently in third place. He is really in a Coanda sandwich. So the gap, this lap alone actually, Jake, has gone up by about 6 tenths of a second. One might ask the question, are they trying to work to get Hutu off of his line and allow Kroenke to go past? Because I know there's no team orders at Coanda. We can talk about that all day long, but stats are stats.
That's our stats, but I don't think that's what we're looking at here, Will. I thought it was a genuine mistake from Martin Piatella. He's not used to being in that situation high up the field. The Finns are supposed to be the coolest drivers under pressure. I don't think he was, but now look at Gregor Hutu close into within 0.2 of a second into turn number 1, 294 kilometers an hour before hitting the brakes into the southern loop. I think it's pretty much down to the fact Piatella has got a lot of nerves and expectations. He didn't expect to be this high. Now he's got to go and earn it, and he's got 7 championships just behind. Kroenke thinking of a look into 4 and not finding.
Yeah, you can get social with us on social media as well. And Johnny, this battle from P number 2 now is going all the way down to about P number 2. We've got to drive it off. Again, Kazuki Omashima makes an issue. He has struggled big time at this track here today. Replay coming up for you now. And Umashima has not had actually the day that he would really want to have had. As we are going to try and find Umashima actually, who had a crash as well.
It's Umashima again, Will.
Let's have a look at the replay, Johnny. Talk us through it.
Oh, so initially Umashima at turn 4. You're going to see that a lot today. Drivers with rear lockups or too much engine braking going on, whatever there. And then he just collided at Siberia with Moritz Lochner, who is in an unknown team. And yeah, lucky Lochner came off best off of that. But Umashima, again, doesn't find himself in the best situations, does he?
He doesn't. As here's another look then from our overhead coverage brought to you by And One Design in towards Siberia. Scoopsy Potatoes goes around. 3-4 drivers involved in that on there. Umashima out of this motor race. And I will say one thing, Jake. I was expecting Umashima to be one of those drivers battling for the top 5 here today. Now, I know that Coanda and Redline have really stepped up their game, but it struggles me at how poorly Umashima was taken to Phillip Island, because I thought he was going to be one of those drivers that's going to win.
But I think Kazuki Umashima is one of those drivers who would suit a track that's more around his time zone. I mean, Suzuka, let's not forget, he got pole position there in a vehicle of Radical's ilk that wasn't performing well in the 2016 season, so we know how good he can be. We always talk about what happened at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, but that's by the by. Umashima has struggled all day today. I think this is indicative of not being too prepared. Maybe you could argue that he did too much for the Neo Endurance Series finale, potentially. But look at this front 3 behind Mitchell de Jong right now, because every time Kroenke gets a look, Gregor Hutu close in on Piatella. Right now, it's Martin Piatella who's being the biggest hindrance in the world right now for Kroenke to get through, and he's been looking and looking. If he's not careful right now, Will, Peter Berryman may start having a look.
Yeah, and a bit of a wiggle there on the exit of the southern loop from Martin Kroenke. We're on board of him as they come in towards turn number 4. Kroenke looking to the outside! Can't get it. Not yet. Kroenke overdrove that corner. Gregor Hutu remains in P number 3, Piatella in P number 2. And I actually think here, Johnny, that Piatella is hurting Martin Kroenke's charge.
He is. At the same time, though, he is helping. I actually, no, I take that back. I think he's helping Hutu drop into the clutches of Kroenke. Here they go over Lukey Heights. Possibly a look for Martin again. Now, don't be surprised. Into turn 2, the southern loop, the left-hander. Hutu is very, very timid through there. He's not as aggressive through the entry of that corner. He likes to take a better exit. And Kroenke's looked to the inside the past couple of laps. Here he will be with the DRS. I don't think he's going to make the move here, but look into turn 2.
Yeah, in towards turn number 1 they come once again. On board one more time, the number 5 machine of Martin Kroenke having to slow down and not run. And Hutu, they're going to go wide in the southern loop. They work themselves again towards turn number 4, Jake. And well, we've got Hutu and Kroenke back again. And I think this is the first time that Hutu has really been a match for Kroenke in 18 months.
It has, and I think we're seeing there, especially Gregor Hutu's taking that wider line into the southern loop to maximise the run to Stoner and Honda. That's what I think he's looking at, but they're all losing 0.4 of a second a lap right now to Mitchell de Jong. It's already 2.4 seconds. Let's not give everything away just yet, but Mitchell de Jong has been fantastic in these opening laps. This is the drive that Martin Kroenke wanted. Suddenly, he's going, hang on, why don't we have a Hamilton-Rosberg situation? Let's have a championship. Mistake from Kroenke through 10, and now Berryman's in the clutches.
Yeah, and Peter Berryman here, he is the wild card in that number 69 JCL Apex Racing machine. We won't talk a lot about him here today, Johnny, because let's be honest, Peter Berryman, he is probably expecting now to come home in P number 5. He's pulled away a little bit from Alexei Yakola in P number 6, but Berryman is a driver. If he gets the opportunity, he will do so, as again, Hutu takes a very wide line from the southern loop, but actually makes it work.
That's what I was talking about before, is Hutu sort of unintentionally leaves the door open, and if Kroenke goes for that move, there's going to be an accident for sure. So I think here they go in a Honda corner where it gets so intense. But we look at those first pit stops for those on a 3-stop, it would be around lap 15 that you would come in, and so a 3-stop would be, I mean, I'm not sure what that would, I'm pretty sure that's not what you want to go for at this racetrack. I think 2 stops what everybody's going to go for today, be around lap 21 when you come in for that. So maybe Peter Berryman in an Apex car. I've heard a few of the Apex cars maybe 3-stopping.
Yeah, and we'll find out over the course of this event. Now, the difficulty here is, Johnny, is that you can do 3 stops if you get the clean air, because overtaking can be tough. We've seen it already here today with drivers, and if you can get the clean air, 3 stoppers will work. And I think that de Jong actually may well be in a 3-stopper, knowing the fact he's starting pole.
Here's Hutu though around the outside, almost made the move there, Will. So sorry to butt in on your point, but now Kroenke may go for the inside line. I'm just so excited by this battle. We haven't seen these guys at it for quite a few years. Oh, not a few years, few rounds, excuse me.
Yeah, as here is Kroenke once again, still behind the driver of Gregor Hutu. Hutu down the inside then on Martin Piatella. I'll stay side by side actually on the run down into Siberia. Hutu trying to make the outside line work into Siberia, not able to do so. We go on board now with that driver of Gregor Hutu, currently P number 3, Team Redline versus Commander. This is not the battle, oh my word, he almost tried to dive down the inside and the run to Lukey Height. That's going to cost him momentum. And I think right now, Jake, this is the most aggressive I've ever seen Gregor Hutu.
It is, and the ironclad door of Marty Piatella was firmly put shut, and a big wiggle coming out of 11 there for Marty Piatella. He sacrifices the run. Now Gregor Hutu needs to think about making this move, but this is where the low downforce, comes into play. Now you've got Hutu to the inside, and finally he breaks the stranglehold on the top 2, and now he can think about chasing down Mitchell de Jong, but now for what? Because look at Marty Piatella searching, not finding anything. It's 3.5 seconds to find.
This is amazing right now. We saw Marty Piatella thinking about going back down to the inside into the southern loop, was not able to do so. The question may well be at this point, do you now, if you're Marty Piatella, allow the driver of Martin Kroenke to go past Johnny and allow it to be Hutu versus Kroenke, or are we going to see Piatella being finished in some ways and, you know, being, I wouldn't say arrogant's the right word, but making Kroenke work?
No, exactly. He'll definitely be doing that for sure, because it's, you know, friendly love at the same time. What we also mustn't forget is that Alexei Yakola made his way past Peter Berryman at Honda corner, and more issues.
Yeah, and this is another FA Racing GT Logitech G car. It is Isaac Price then in the number 99 car into Siberia, makes contact, loops it around. Makes contact with one of the Logical Vortex sim racing drivers, and Isaac Price is now down in P number 31, Johnny.
Yeah, so Isaac Price again, he's just not, I mean, I don't know what's happened to him this season. I think he's just had such a tough workload, hasn't had as much focus on this car, but certainly if he can commit to it, he'll be there for sure. Kroenke, though, up into P3 and past his teammate Marty Piatella. Look out, though, for Alexei Yakola.
Yeah, Yakola currently working in P number 5. Battling, has got himself past Peter Berryman into that 5th position, Jake.
Yes, he has. And well, Alexius Iacocca, let's not forget, in 2015 decided, oh, hello, I'll only win the first 2 rounds of the championship, and decide to make a concerted effort at trying to take a title challenge to Gregor Hutu. But Alexius Iacocca, take nothing away from him. He is a race winner. He does know how to fight in the big leagues. And let's not forget who's behind him that can get past Peter Berryman. Freek Schothorst, Olli Pakala, the Red Line Brigade, all 4 of them in their multicolour rainbow packet that they've got. They are on a charge, on a storm. And I tell you what is very interesting right now here, Will, is the fact that Gregor Hutu just took 0.5 of a second out of Mitchell de Jong, and everybody is now chasing.
Yes. The gap between Gregor Hutu and Martin Kroenke is 0.8 of a second. But I think Hutu realizes that this is his only opportunity. He has to charge. And again, let's go back in history and let's go back in time here, Johnny, because we know that Hutu is the best driver in the world in the middle stage of a run. As he gets a little bit looser on the exit of turn before, his lap times, he's gained 1/4 of a second from his 3 attempts over Mitchell de Jong. The gap is still 3 seconds, but this is where Hutu really comes to life.
No, I really like Hutu at this stage of the race, like you said, and I think right now, this is where the true race pace of Mitchell de Jong will show, because what we saw earlier was Hutu being impeded by Piatella. He's having to defend each lap as well, heading into corners such as MG at turn 10, and so this is where he unleashes his rhythm and his pace. This is what made Gregor Hutu a 5-time world champion. And now he's got a clear track ahead. First pit stop's not coming in for another 9 laps, I'd say, at the earliest for the 2 stoppers. So Kroenke behind is definitely going to keep Gregor honest.
Ooh. Yeah, we've got a charge and turn around. That is Marcus Jensen, Jake.
Yeah, I just caught that one just at the end of it at turn 11. He was right up there trying to make some charges. He's now dropped back behind Yao Vaz of all people. So big drop for Marcus Jensen. When it's not your day, it's really not your day. And as a 17-year-old like Marcus Jensen is, he's got to be able to pick himself up after this, because when you get a bad result like this when you're young, sometimes confidence does become an issue.
Yeah, and the number 12 machine, of course, Marcus Jensen and Burst eSport. One of the smaller teams in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Now Jensen in P number 25 in this motor race. Nice looking car, I would say, for the number 12 as well. So let's go up through the field a little bit. Let's have a look at Jamie Fluke for a moment, because Jamie Fluke is backing it out with Matt Backham for P number 9 on track, and it is congested. Is the only way you can say that one, Johnny. It's congested.
Yeah, we need some traffic lights, all this kind of stuff for these guys. There's a whole lot of congested play going on right now. Fluke's got a good chance though here. Here's where those DRS trains will make this overtake a little bit more difficult, but there's the light going on for Backham, and this is conserving some of that ERS power as well. Maybe up the inside at turn 2 is an option for Fluke. It's quite a deceiving corner like we saw before. You'll see some drivers like Hutu take a wide line, and you think the entry is open there up the inside, but we've seen throughout the years, Will, that drivers get involved in incidents because it's just so deceiving to make a move there. But this is one of the best trains I've ever seen.
Yeah. We've got ahead, by the way, Alexius Iacocca. They're now battling out Martin Piatella. Piatella's fading a little bit here, Jake. And we have seen Piatella do that over the years, in the fact that when he has had positions outside of your top 10, actually, I'll say that, Iacocca! Oh!
Oh my goodness me, Alexius Iacocca saw the gap, he went for it. Marty Piatella is just having no luck this season. He's not going to join before MG, he's going to join after it. He'll take a slowdown penalty for it. I think he'll serve most of it. Antoine Higeland will now look to get past, but that was Alexius Iacocca being far too aggressive. Yes, there was a chance. Yes, he tried to line it up the lap before, but there was no reason for Alexius Iacocca to go that far deep into a corner that at best is 2 lines only.
Yeah, and I know Martin Piatella very well. I know the fact that he's a driver who normally is very calm, but I can imagine there's things on the broadcast that we would not be allowed to say coming out of Martin Piatella. It'll be like when Kimi Räikkönen gets frustrated there, Johnny. Piatella starting so high up in the field. He's now back to where he normally is in the race, P number 12. But I think he deserves something.
He did, but I don't know, everyone's going to get angry at Alexi and say he shouldn't have, done this, he shouldn't have hit him. Well, was Alexi trying to hit him off the racetrack? No, he's trying to make a move up the inside, and I think as a driver there, right now, you have to just get onto Alexi's mind and say, in this race, you are not going to face a penalty. Go out for the race win. That's what you have to tell him. Face the penalty next round, face something else in the future. But right now, I think Alexei Usiakala has race-winning pace, and that move there was critical, regardless if it was clean or not.
Well, there's always the people that say if you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing car driver. I think that's one of those gaps that it was very tight as Piatella actually comes on towards pit road. Then 16 or 69 laps here scored complete in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. He will come in. Your top 8 then, let's show them on the bottom of your screen. Mitchell de Jong is leading right now over Gregor Hutu. The gap has come down, however, between de Jong and Hutu to 2.8 seconds on track. Martin Kroenke runs in third. He is 7 tenths of a second behind Gregor Hutu. Alexei Usiakala runs in fourth. Peter Berman in fifth. Freek Shorehorse in P number 6. Ollie Pakala in seventh. And Matt Backham rounds out your top 8. And I still what I have to say actually here. Now we've had the race start, Jake. I'm right, this is one of the best races in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. This isn't hype, this is reality.
So far, we've still got a long way to go, Will. Strategy will come into play as well. And right now, if you're Mitchell de Jong, the only thing you can do is set lap times. You know that they're going to come in and try and make stops. In fact, Kroenke is going for a 3-stop. He's in on lap 16. This is bold from Martin Kroenke.
Wow. Martin Kroenke then on towards pit road. You've got
3-stop.
Alexei Usiakala, Peter Berman, Jamie Fluke also onto lane as well. This is 3-stop territory here. As well, Johnny, if you're Kroenke and you win the race doing a 3-stopper, you deserve to be a record breaker.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bold strategy, like we said. He's out and away. Now, look out for the pit exit here. This is where it gets hair-raising. You don't need to take that long left-hand lane. You can go straight to the circuit. Kroenke smartly engages DRS. This is all preparation and practice. Most importantly, clean track, clear slate of air in front of him. This is perfect.
Oh, yeah, it really is indeed. Alexei Usiakala out in 3.7 seconds, by the way. That was faster than Martin Kroenke by half a second. Peter Berman, 4.1 seconds stop for him. So Apex Racing UK looking as though there, Jake, they are also doing this ultimate strategy.
Yes, they are, and I think everyone's had to cover Kroenke. When Kroenke makes a decision, he is so influential right now in sim racing that somebody's got to go and cover him. Alexei Usiakala had to because Gregor Hutu's on his own strategy. Now look at this. Ollie Pakala covers the call. Matt Backham now covers the call. Antoine Higeland covers the call. This is changing everything right now. The only 3 that are staying out, though, are Mitchell de Jong, Gregor Hutu, and Freek Shorehorse. I expect them to go for the 2-stop. If they're going for the 3-stop again, though, they'll be coming in the next 2 laps or so.
And the thing is about Hutu and the thing is about de Jong, they are both very, I would say arrogant is the word, but in a nice way. They have something in their head and they will stick to it, Johnny.
They're, you know what you'd call them? You'd say they are rightly so. They are confident. I don't know. I can't find the word. But they're allowed to be arrogant if you're that good. If you got that much talent. Here's Kroenke about to make a move on Balazars Remeniec at Honda corner. This will be an easy move. So by the looks of it, Kroenke's gained about 1 to 1.5 seconds. And he's probably already passed Gregor Hutu. So Hutu has to commit to that 2-stop. And so does de Jong at this stage. Because another lap, I think Mitchell de Jong will be right into the clutches of passing de Jong for the lead.
Jake, do you remember the 1998 Hungarian Grand Prix?
I do remember the 1998 Hungarian Grand Prix.
That's what we're having here.
Yes, we are. I was 1 year old, though, Will, when the Hungarian Grand Prix was in 1998.
You were watching motor racing, all was fine.
Yes, all is fine. All is good and dandy in the world. But you are right. This is a very much a strategy game that we are looking at here. And it's going to come down to who wants to make that call. Ilkka Harpala, for example, in the Orion Racing Machine. He's down the lane. We've got some side-by-side as well. That's Alexei Usiakala easing past the Vortex, the logical Vortex sim racing machine of Balázs Remeniec. And talking about Hungarians, Will, that Hungarian is finding that he needs a little bit more to be racing with the big boys.
Yeah, indeed, as Ilkka Harpala comes back out onto track in the number 8 machine, then just turn that camera around a little bit in towards turn number 1. The pit exit here, Jake, is one of the scariest in all of racing. You've got the safe option, but no one wants to take the safe option. You literally come onto a piece of racetrack where there are people doing 205 miles an hour plus behind you, and you've got to hope that no one hits you.
Yes, you do, and I think that you can take the safe option. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to do, but you need a lot of faith in a driver to maybe pull to the inside, because it's actually blind as well, Will, which makes it so much more difficult. You can just pop out of that gap and go, oh, hello, bam, there's contact. That could certainly be a bit of a difficulty. I've just been comparing the lap times as well between the likes of De Jong, Hutu and Kroenke. It was an 11.6 that last time by for De Jong, an 11.4 for the driver of Gregor Hutu. Martin Kroenke is doing 109.7s. Hello, Kroenke. I think he's been released, Will.
Yeah, he really has been. As Rachel Wakeford would once say, release the Kroenke, as he is currently running in P number 5. Tommy Oscar currently running in P number 7 in the number 1 machine. But we need to lap on board of this driver. It is the driver of Martin Kroenke, because he is absolutely flying right now as he goes now into Siberia corner and works himself towards Lukey Heights once again. We're going to give you a little bit of RaceSpotTV fan immersion. This is RaceSpotTV. This is the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and this is going to be one of the best races we've ever seen. RaceSpotTV fan immersion starts now. Actually, no, Hutu's on pit road.
Yeah, leaders in on pit road here, Will. Hutu's dived in, De Jong's dived in. I'll dive when you dive. End of lap 20. I think this is a commit to the 3-stop. They've had to here, as out comes Mitchell de Jong. There goes Martin Kroenke on the aggressive undercut. And let's not forget here, it's Alexei Usiakala who's the fastest man on track. 0.2 of a second knocked off of Kroenke.
Yep, so here we are then, and it's a battle between Yakola and Martin Kroenke right now. Joshua Rogers, we want to give him a bit of credit, of course. He is leading at his home racetrack right now, Johnny. And this is a driver, of course, who had issues, couldn't actually get to race in the first round of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. The number 92 machine, yes, it's because of strategy, but he's leading at home.
Yeah, and you know what? He forgot to register for that first race, so it's a driver error as far as I know. And here he is now showcasing his talent. New team as well at Burst eSport, joining Marcus Jensen. A very unknown team, something we haven't, you know, minimal details out there. Who knows if it's even a team? Who knows if it's just a name? So a lot of questions to be answered. He dives into the pit lane, and he'll be on that 2-stop as well. We're in 2-stop territory now, lap 21. So I truly think that, as he's got damage on his car, as we hear as well behind the scenes, this could be a long pit stop for Josh Rogers.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye out. Anything less than 5 seconds, we know it's just tyres. Anything more, and we know that the driver is going to basically lose about 4, 5, 6 positions. And it is a long stop then for Joshua Rogers. The stop will go up to 8 to 9 to 10 to 11, 10.5 then. He comes out and away, and he'll be down in P number 19 in that Burst eSports car as he comes out of pit road right now. As actually the driver right behind him, Yao Vaz, down to the inside, will gain a position over him as well. Martin Kroenke is now your leader of this motor race, Jake even, has the gap is 1.92 seconds as they work for themselves through Lukey Heights once again. But as you mentioned, Alexei Usiakala is closing down. So Team Redline, it was at one point Gregor Hutu, who was the driver who was making the charge commander. Now it's the Dracula.
It is the Dracula, and well, when you look at Alexei Usiakala, it doesn't matter if it's day or night. If he gets in range, you'll be sure to know that he bites. So I think that he's got to be very careful, but of course Mitchell de Jong is right in the wheelhouse. He's got 5 laps, I think, on the fresher tyres, sorry. He will have that advantage to use. That's half a second at the moment. It's looking like he's got quicker than Usiakala. The gap 2.6 to Martin Kroenke. I think it's time, Will, that we're looking at before Mitchell de Jong starts thinking, you know what, P2's worth it. If I'm Martin Kroenke now, I try and convert to the 2-stop. 5 laps, maybe take 2 extra laps on your stint. Come in, get a 3-lap window to Mitchell de Jong, and then a 1-lap window.
Yeah, on one thing, by the way, he's lost position down in P number 13 to Ilkka Happala. Ilkka Happala basically here, Johnny, he's doing an Ilkka Happala race, running around the top 10. He'll scrape into it if he's lucky. This is a Ryan race team, Ilkka Happala, one of the longest serving drivers in the history of the World Championship Grand Prix Series, a former race winner, and a driver, let's be honest, we love having in the series.
Now we do. He's a name where, you know, it's not the World Championship without him, without the 34-year-old, but only celebrated his 34th birthday only a few weeks ago, so he's out here at Phillip Island, still feeling young in the virtual world, still in the simulator and still traveling away in that iconic Orion race team livery, which we will never forget.
Yeah, as we've also got Peter Berryman versus Gregor Hutu. That's going on for P number 5. They were side by side for a moment there, Jake.
They were, and down to turn number 1, Gregor Hutu made the tyres work for him, because I think you could take that position, run off to Gretna Green and get married with it, as now Alexei Usiakala loses the position to Mitchell de Jong through turn number 4 at Honda. So Mitchell de Jong, fantastic piece of business work to get his way through, and Johnny, you had a better look than I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're seeing now, is that those 2-stop runners, okay, they pitted later and they might be on one less stop, but they've got the quicker set of rubber. So that's where de Jong makes a simple move. Alexei just runs deep, allows Mitchell to go through, and very simple move from Mitchell de Jong with that quicker rubber. Yeah,
just having a look at the replay there from Mitchell de Jong and the exit of the southern loop down in towards turn number 4. He just gets a fantastic piece of traction, actually, through turn number 3, stone corner, and then gets himself in position to climb de Jong up into P number 2. So, who thought it would be Cronkite leading, de Jong in second place after 25 laps of this motor race, Johnny?
This is, not to be harsh to Martin, this isn't really what I wanted, but the race isn't over. Who knows if the strategy will work. Right now, it is looking like it's very tight between the 2 and 3 stop runners. It really depends on traffic at this stage. And de Jong, just simple moves like that, maybe losing a 10th or 2 there, that could make the difference come the end of the race. Overtaking, as we know, is always going to be difficult in trains, so the overtaking should be a lot easier as the race progresses.
On board of Fake Shawhorse, currently in P number 10, trying to hunt down Antoine Heglin and the Apex Racing UK machine. We are 25 laps into the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And let's ride a lap then on board with Martin Cronkite as he looks to do history. This is RaceSpotTV Fan Immersion. Looking for 15 in a row for Martin Cronkite in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Jake, we never thought that'd be a possibility.
No, he didn't, but it's not a guarantee, because Mitchell de Jong just closed in 5/10 of a second again on that last lap. The gap's down to 9/10 of a second. Now, this depends on what Martin Cronkite wants to do. If he knows he's the slower driver, would he let Mitchell de Jong through and let his strategy do the talking? Or would he go the other option, Will, hold up Mitchell de Jong, back up Mitchell de Jong into Gregor Hutu if he can get past Alexei Usiakala, and decide, you know what, I'm going to cost you your race because my race may be quicker?
Well, there's also another thing that's worth talking about here, is that no team has ever won 15 races in a row here, Johnny. So even if Cronkite doesn't win here today, if it is de Jong that wins, that's still a victory for Quantum Sim Sports. If Cronkite starts to battle with de Jong, you could lose that, and Yakola could win the race. Hutu could win the race. Heck, even Peter Berryman can still win the race here today.
Yeah, it's definitely true. It'd be nice to see Peter Berryman win his first ever race. Everybody in this top 4 at the moment has won an IWC GPS race before, so to see Peter Berryman would be fantastic. It's great to see Alexei Usiakala back to his race winning pace, although close to it. But De Jong's very close to Kroenke here. Alexiou Siakala and Hutu also win a little team battle for 3rd and 4th. And by the way, a red line car out, it's Olli Pakala, but we'll talk about that in a little bit of a second.
Yeah, as we're on board with Gregor Hutu then as he comes down in towards 4. He's got it. Easy. That wasn't team orders, that was just Yakota saying, you know what? You go and have that position. You go and break the dream, Jake.
Yeah, that's strategy there for you. Alexiou Siakala knows he's the slower driver, and redline, they like to say the quicker driver goes through. Not Dom Doohan, not team orders. The drivers themselves sort that out. So Gregor Hutu goes forward, looks to charge. Now what do you do if you're Mitchell de Jong? Gregor Hutu will be coming for you. If you can't get past Martin Kroenke, you're in a little bit of trouble. Kroenke won't have the DRS when he comes to this front stretch. I think this is the greatest chance Mitchell de Jong has had in about a year to try and make a definitive move on Martin Kroenke. We said that Martin Kroenke has never been overtaken since Monza. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's a bit of history for you.
De Jong is past, and he's got himself past Martin Kroenke. The two teammates may well be working together to get themselves a command of victory, but De Jong has done something that's not been done since Monza in 2016, as Mitchell de Jong is your new leader in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. 29 of 69 laps scored complete here. We saw the replay there for Olli Pakala, by the way. Technical difficulties for him, Johnny, and he's out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It came at the exit of Siberia, and he, definitely technical issues. That's not something Ollie would do out of driver error, so that's very unfortunate.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, it looked like he lost traction, but it's a lot more extreme than that. So, just unfortunate again for Olli Pakala. He's in a team which has, at the moment, looks like possible race-winning pace. One of their cars is only 1.9 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, down on P number 28, by the way, David Acor, Orion Racing versus Michael Partington, going on as they work themselves on the exit of the summer loop down towards 4 once again. Mogar Philo will lose position. Daniel Bieder losing a position as well. So battle's going on. Oh, what a slide there by the driver. Oh my God, of Parkinson. That's a big one in towards turn number 4. And Philo also. So two Radicals cars with issues in the same space of 20 seconds there, Jake.
Come on, guys. Six Sideways aren't your sponsors for nothing. So Michael Partington runs into a mistake. Mogar Philo runs into a mistake as well. This is the Radicals we don't like seeing. The Radicals that makes mistakes. They had a horrible showing at Interlagos. 4 of their 6 machines out at turn 3. And this is just continuation of the nightmare start to the season, with Rob Cuss gritting his teeth thinking, what do I have to do to this Radicals team to make it work, Will?
Yeah, so here's a replay then on board of Mogar Philo. As he caught a call, my word, that was a weird one from Mogar Philo, actually, Jake. And you're right. I mean, Radicals Online is a team that's gone through so much over the last 3 years. And Mogar Philo, by the way, is out of the event. Danny Arndt Wernting for Radicals Online right now is about to lose the position to David Acor. Acor looking on the outsides to come down in towards turn number 4. Wernting will hold on to that position for the time being in P number 26. Yep. But for Radicals, they're a team that, you know, I call Mogar Philo one of the unluckiest drivers in the history of this series, because he's never won a race, but has deserved to win a race. And on multiple occasions, of course, we can always be reminiscent of the Kazuki Umeshima moment at Canada a few years ago as well. And Radicals Online, they have basically won 2 of the biggest endurance races of the year, but they can't do it in this series.
No, they can't, and I think it's down to the setup of their team. I think they struggle, as we actually did also note that Freek Schothorst is through on Kevin Ellis Jr. quite comfortably, it has to be said as well. So I think what we're seeing from Radicals, Will, is a sense of Groundhog Day, deja vu, always having the potential but never quite living up to it. Yes, they've got some fantastic drivers, but they need to start finding the results. Otherwise, they're just going to be another name that comes down in history. And for a team that has gone on since 2003, Will, before iRacing even existed, this is a team that wants to leave a legacy, and this is the struggle in the World Championship.
I love the comment by Isaac West, by the way, on our YouTube gaming feed. Thank you so much, by the way, to everyone who comments, likes, subscribes, etc. We don't want you to. We just hope that you do. And it's fantastic on there. Missed the Apex West so much, Johnny. he ended up in another zip code.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before, but we hear it again, and it's, yeah, it doesn't change anything for me. By the way, looking at Kroenke and Hutu, 2/10 the gap, more importantly here. Great to see world champions fighting at it, going through Lukey Heights once again. Blind left-hander. This is where Alexi Usiakala barged his way past Marty Piatella, who's just DNF'd from the race, as we hear. So Piatella, unfortunately, who was, you know, biting for that top 5 result, not there anymore, but Hutu's got a chance here to make his way past Martin. He's going to go through the final corner. Dirty air is not going to be easy. The understeer, you can see it becomes ever difficult for the Finn, but here's Gregor now with DRS.
So it was Monza the last time that Kroenke got past. He's been tasked now twice in one race because Gregor Hutu up into P number 2, and Kroenke tries to come back then down the inside into the southern loop. Not going to happen, but can Kroenke respond as they work themselves now down towards turn number 4? What's that there, Jake?
Alexis Yakala missed his box coming onto the lane. He was going for the aggressive 3-stop wheel, missed his box, had to reverse back. That might just cost him a shot at victory today.
Yes, let's get ourselves another look at that one if we can for Alexi Usiakala. There he is on pit road. He's coming in on the replay as he comes on towards his pit stall. We saw this a lot yesterday on Friday Night Primetime. Drivers overshooting. We've had another one. Yakola on pit road then overshoots his pit stall. 3.8 second pit stop. That's fine. But the time on the lane, 26 seconds. And that is, Jake, 1.2 seconds longer than anyone else did in their first stint.
Exactly, as Kroenke comes in for his second stop, firm 3-stop on lap 33 of 69. He'll be looking to go for this one a little bit more, but we don't need to be seeing those small mistakes. It's the fine margins in this series that constitute a race victory from 4th place, and never more apparent has it been than in this race. Kroenke is perfect on his box once again. Up on the jacks, down on the jacks, out and away with the tyres that he needs. He will come out, I think, with Paschalis Jurgis just through. Yes, he will. Marcus Jensen just through. David Williams just behind. So fresh rubber, but not fresh track. He's got 2 to clear.
And one thing we've noticed about this race so far here, Johnny, is that you can make passes if you've got fresh rubber, and this is going to be really quick and really easy, hopefully there, as Martin Kroenke will go past Marcus Jensen, and Kroenke up into P number 8. He's now 2.6 behind Gurgis. He's not 2.6 behind Gurgis, actually, he's 0.7 behind Gurgis.
Yeah, so Pash won't be an easy person to pass. Pash is very aggressive. He's not presumptuous, but he's definitely confident in that core sim racing car. Kroenke, though, this isn't a place you overtake at. He's going to go for the inside at Lukey Heights. Yes, how about that, Martin? Makes his way past, boxes out the line around the outside, and says to Pash, no, make your move another day, mate. And there we go, Martin into P7. Now, one thing we have to note quickly, Will, in terms of these strategies, yes, correct. The 3-stoppers come in for their second stop just then, as you saw. More importantly, we have to wait another 10 laps for our 2-stoppers to come in. So these 3-stop guys are not only going to have the faster tires for the end of the race, but for the next 10 laps, they're going to be ever catching those 2-stop drivers.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Jake. I've never seen a race as good in the World Championship Series. This is the best.
This is class, and that is a Pass of the Year candidate. I've seen one pass that could rival that in the V8 Scops, and that was Dane Warren's 2-for-1 special. But Martin Kroenke around the outside for the inside at Lukey Heights, it does not get much better than that. And now he's got Ilkka Harpala. Now he's got Mogar Filio. Are we going to see the same thing again? Look how much more difference Kroenke has in terms of his rubber. He'll be able to attack this next section. I wonder if Harpala will defend. He does defend. Kroenke does not need that.
No, and that's the thing now. You've got to make every second count. As here's another look then. Kroenke down into Lukey Heights, making the pass work to get up into P number 6. He's worked himself past the driver of Ilkka Harpala. And, well, Johnny, I mean, people might be thinking we're just hyping up this broadcast because it's what we do as broadcasters. This, and you and I have worked on the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series for so long. This is beating the race at Silverstone back in 2015.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So as entertaining as it can get, but even so, that Silverstone race was, I mean, without the final lap, was it really that good of a race?
No.
You're talking about Phillip Island here with, for the first time, finally, we get to see more than just a one-stop strategy, which we've had in this car for many years. And I've always said, okay, we should have multiple tire compounds and all this kind of stuff. But iRacing's done a great job here. This is as good as having different types of tire compounds. Improving the upgrades to have these tires degrade a little bit more. Different challenge for the drivers. Not only that, but as a driver, when I come to testing and I don't have to do one full stint, that is about 50% of the distance, I'm more motivated to push now. And I'm like, hey, I can make 3 stops. I can push harder. The tire's going to be harder as Mac Backham comes into the pit lane. This is so much more better for the quality of racing. So great job by iRacing, and the product we're seeing right now is something we're going to see for the rest of 2018.
Yeah, we're talking about pass of the season. I think we just have another candidate here. Replay passes Gergis right now, making a move over the driver of the Boost eSports car, actually. And Gergis making a very bold move there, Jake, up into P number 6. And Gergis there doing a fantastic run right now. We know, and he's on old tyres as well.
He is, and so is Jensen, so is Rogers, and the 2 teammates going at it. And look who's scything through the middle. That's Peter Berryman on a rampage, looking to try and make positions. He'll look late down to the inside, not going to find it. Looks for the inside contact. Round goes 1, second bit of contact. Jurgis holds on, but I think there's damage. Peter Berryman, I think he just ran out of road. The difference in tyre life, just air apparent.
Yeah, replay, let's go on board. He gets a position and he runs himself then down towards turn number 4. And that's the thing, when you get yourself into the situation where you've got fresher tyres, you think you can do bolder moves as they come down in towards turn number 4. And yeah, you're right, he runs out of road, turns around Gergis, and ironically, he does turn him back in the right direction, Johnny.
Yeah, which, I mean, it helps, but it's not going to help the emotions of Pash at the moment, who's a passionate dude. But you know what? I know Peter Berryman didn't do that intentionally, but I don't know. It's not the move you want to see. Regardless of that, though, you have to sort of look at it from the bright side of a sim racer. When you're in a virtual cockpit, it is a lot harder to avoid making contact with another driver. Spatial awareness is a lot harder. You're not seeing out of human eyes. You're looking at screens, or unless you're the likes of Ollie Pakala, who could be using virtual reality, different story. So people just have to note that as a driver, as a sim racer, it is a lot harder to avoid contact.
Yeah, as we just have a look on board with Joshua Rogers. Just having a look right now as he works himself on the run through the S's. Currently in P number 8 in the Burst eSport car. One thing I will say here, that Hutu, De Jong and Shortos have not yet made their second pit stop here. And Jake, anything can happen during that sequence, although Kroenke is closing, and as it stands, we know that Kroenke might have to make one more pit stop, but I think he's in good position.
I think he's in a very good position, 1.5 seconds a lap quicker, 20 seconds behind. He needs to get that gap down to about, in the next 2 laps, he's got to get it down to about 17 seconds to really have himself a chance, and then he's pushing all the way through. Mitchell de Jong, I think he's had to clear a little bit of traffic. Stephen Michaels in the positive sim racing machine. They've got Davide Corps in front, Yao Vaz in front as well, but both of them need to try and find a way through. But I think Mitchell de Jong has to be worried now more about what's behind than in front. Hutu was 0.5 seconds quicker on the last lap.
Yeah, and Rogers is up into P number 7. He gets the position done. Then over the driver of Marcus Jensen. Matt Backham now coming into play as well in P number 9 on track. And actually Backham has got a fantastic opportunity over Marcus Jensen. They go side by side on the run towards Lukey Heights, and another pass then made by Mac Backham. This is a race that we didn't think was going to have a lot of overtaking. Ollie Pakala actually talked about it on social media there, Johnny, before this racing. There's not going to be a lot of overtaking. Oh, we've had it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought so too. We were talking behind the scenes before this broadcast. I thought there wasn't going to be much overtaking. But that's just my mind thinking, oh, these are the same tires we've had for the past 2 years. I keep forgetting that right now, Mac Backham, who's on fresh rubber, is having a field day right now. Passed 3 cars in 1 lap alone last time around. Now he's got a chance at Josh Rogers. Heading into turn 2, he goes for that Hutu wide line. And he's going to have the run out of the southern loop here through Stoner corner turn 3. He should look for the inside unless Rogers goes defensive.
A lot of love on social media for Josh Rogers right now as he goes side by side in towards turn number 4. Matt Backham is, however, passed. He moves himself up into P number 7 on track. Lap number 40 of 69 are going to be score complete next time by in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And well, this is a race for the ages right now. Moritz Lohner loses a position. He's down into P number 13 on track. And, well, we've got ourselves, I think, a lot still to go here. As Mitchell de Jong is still leading the way as he works himself down in towards turn number 4 and puts a driver a lap down again. Let's talk about lap traffic here in 2018, Jake, because in previous years, F1 blue flag rules existed for lap traffic. That no longer applies. Standard iRacing safety code rules apply. You make the pass cleanly, or you don't do it at all.
Exactly, you've got to make sure that you get yourself around. It's cooperation between both drivers. It's the responsibility of the passing car to make the move effectively. That's going to be very different, Will, from what you'd normally see from a race, because it means that someone like Michael Partington, for example, who's just been overtaken by Frank Schothorst, put a lap down, has Martin Kroenke just behind. He has no obligation to move out of the way. Martin Kroenke has got to make the pass as if Michael Partington was another vehicle on the circuit. That's a disaster right now for Martin Kroenke. What's more of a disaster is the fact that he's within that 1 second window, not wanting to pit, not coming in. Frank Schothorst this time by. You're seeing here how the fuel is starting to make these 2 stops go out a little bit longer, and that's only going to be helping those drivers on the 2 stops with quicker rubber at the end.
Yeah, indeed so. So we are now lap number 42 of 69 in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. We will step aside for a brief moment and we'll come back as we take you RaceSpotTV side by side. Here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerit at the line. Hutu has pitted, and he's down at P number 5 right now in the number 66 Team Redline car. Welcome back to one of the most entertaining races in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. RaceSpotTV /timing for live timing and scoring all race long. And of course, you can get social with us /RaceSpotTV on Facebook, at RaceSpotTV on Twitter. Off air, Johnny, you were talking about tyres. Go.
Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah, you put me on the spot. So, we just saw Hutu pit. Now, Jake mentioned that he thought De Jong was going to cover. And yeah, that's true. Like, logically, De Jong should cover Hutu. Right now, I think Hutu has the lead, probably. But more importantly, if Jong comes in the next 1 or 2 laps, he's going to have the fresher rubber on Gregor for the rest of the race. And overtaking's a lot easier here. And I think that matters more to De Jong. He says, okay, Gregor, go get your 5-6 seconds on the undercut, but I'm going to pass you later on in the race. And it's not going to be that hard either. So that's important too. But man, that's an early stop for Gregor. And I'm not sure if this race is looking bright for Hutu at the moment, although I could swallow my words soon.
Jay, do you have any idea what's going on?
No, but I can make a good guess. That's what I can definitely say. I think Gregor Hutu's gone early for it. He wants to get the fresh rubber. He wants to track position. I think that Redline understand and Hutu understands the only way I can win this event is if I defend it, because we saw how long it took him to get past Martin Piatella. We know that Redline typically struggle when it comes to making the moves, but on 1 lap pace, they normally do very well. I think Hutu had to come in early because that suits Team Redline's modus operandus, as down on the lane is Mitchell de Jong, relinquishes the lead to Martin Kroenke once again. I think this is going to be fantastic to see. Expect Hutu through. He does. Now Mitchell de Jong's got to decide, okay, now I've got to go play chase.
How hard do I chase? How hard do I push? Of course, we are also live on Twitch TV, on Facebook Live, on YouTube Gaming and iRacing Live, the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. This is the biggest open world series in the world. Of course, you're on the run also to the month of May. Kroenke has the lead by 5.8 seconds right now over Freek Shorehorse. However, Kroenke might need to come towards pit road once again, Johnny. So this is literally Hungary 1998.
Yeah, I know. I like this comparison to that race. It's getting ever so closer as well. I'm just looking at de Jong now behind Mac Backham. He needs to pass him ASAP. And I don't think Backham's obviously trying to hold up his teammate, but it's just wrong place at the wrong time for Mitchell. Backham's going to have to come in sometime soon, possibly this lap. He is on the same strategy as Mitchell de Jong. Let's have a look. Mac Backham continues for another lap, and that should mean an easy move for Mitchell here on his teammate.
Yeah, and Shorehorse pits from second place there, Jake.
Yeah, he does, and that has released Gregor Hutu down the inside of Alexius Yakla, and almost like clockwork, Redline get themselves through. Hutu was catching up 2 Redline machines, and in the space of 2 corners, he's through the pair of them. That's perfect for Gregor Hutu. Now, as he wants to use the rubber, he's got to get past Michael Partington, who's lap traffic. Daniel Arendt-Wensing went off in the last lap as well. He'll be issues. But now it's a case of Martin Kroenke. When do I come down? When do I pit? The gap is 7 seconds right now to Gregor Hutu. Yes, Hutu will probably be about 2 seconds a lap slower at the end of the event to Kroenke. But let's not forget there's also 6 seconds to Mitchell de Jong. And I expect Kroenke to maybe be 6 seconds behind de Jong, a second a lap quicker. Yeah,
we saw Freek Shorehorse coming towards pit road. He actually did his pit stall, so the same issue that Alexius Yakla had earlier on today. And then Shorehorse also took the long way out of pit road as well. Gregor Hutu looking to get some traffic pass as Alexius Yakla is now on towards pit road for the 3rd time here today, Johnny.
There we go. Hopefully he doesn't miss his pit box this time around.
Yeah.
Searches for it. And it's always distracting when there's a car in front as well. Doesn't make your job easier. I've seen Alexi miss his pit box. Doesn't miss it this time, but he's missed it quite a bit over the years. Clean pit stop for him though, and he's going to go into that poorly designed pit exit where you can just rejoin the track here and surprise all the drivers.
Hello!
Oh god. Oh my goodness. So you just clutch at straws. Oh, it's the number 8 of Ilkka Haapala. And Haapala, he's a brave man, isn't he? He's more than experienced. He does not give a damn, and yeah, continues in that battle.
Speechless is the moment there on board with Ilkka Haapala.
You should keep the pit stop that way. Keep the pit exit that way, where it's just surprising everybody who comes on the main straight.
That, yeah, I mean, 210 miles an hour they're doing in towards turn number 1 there, Johnny. And you can't, I mean, you've got to have balls to come onto the racetrack like that.
Yeah, you know who else has got a set of steel is Alexius Iacolo, makes his way past Williams, and Jake, possibly some issue somewhere.
Hutu 4 seconds a lap slower on that last time by. I want to say it's a mistake somewhere. I'm having a look at it, and he's just incredibly slow coming out of, I believe it's Honda, maybe a slowdown penalty of sorts, because he really checks up through, I believe that's Siberia, and that's 4 seconds gone. And I don't know what's going on with Martin Kroenke here. This is baffling, Will.
He's lost the race. He's just, because he can't stay out because Hutu's on rubber. It's 9 laps longer, and Kroenke just cannot stay out and make this a victory. Kroenke's just broken his own streak, and ironically here, Jake, Hutu's the person that's going to take it away from him.
Is it though? Because you've got to remember Mitchell de Jong is on the charge. He's within 4 seconds right now of Gregor Hutu, and look how close de Jong is as he looks to get past the lap traffic and Michael Partington. He does so 109.8. That's not good enough. That's half a second Gregor Hutu's favour. Hutu within 6/10. Now if you're Kroenke, this is the play you have to do. Stay out, hold up Hutu, bring de Jong back into it, because you know your race is done.
Yeah, so issues then for Martin Kroenke. Hutu in second place, and de Jong is charging. This is 19 laps to go in the second round, the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. I take that back, 20 laps to go. But Hutu is now on the rear, and Martin Kroenke, he had the opportunity to win this motor race, but it slipped away from him. As they now come into Lukey Heights once again, it will be a case of maybe Gregor Hutu taking away and saying, you know what, that streak, we have it equal, but also I'm taking it away from you. On the exit of the final corner, Gregor Hutu is going to have the run at the final corner, and he is going to be side by side with Martin Kroenke as they work themselves onto the front straightaway. Here comes Hutu for the lead in towards 1. Hutu once again on top position, Johnny. This is the best race in the history of the series.
We've seen a great race here today, and it's not even over at the moment. Kroenke is expected to pit around this time as well for that final stop. And if that's the case, he could be about 1 second a lap quicker to 1.5 than Gregor and Mitchell. And that would mean he'd catch them. Well, he wouldn't catch them in time.
No, he won't.
That's when.
That 4 seconds basically was the difference.
Yeah, and we don't know what happened. It could have been a technical issue. Could have been something that's going on in the cockpit where, who knows? It's something we need to speak about after the race. But right now, if he doesn't come in this lap around, he's going for that sort of advantage at the end of the race where he'll pit late, do that little Kamui Kobayashi, I'm 7 seconds lap quicker than everybody, and pass all the cars on the final lap. I think he did that at Valencia in 2010, I think.
And he is in. I thought he was going to be in this time, but I could see it down in turn number 10. The fact that that car is not handling properly. He's on towards pit road. Is Martin Kroenke on the free stop strategy? Well, if he wins this race now, Jake, this is, in my opinion, the best victory any driver's ever had. I don't expect him to win this race. I think now Gregor Hutu has got the advantage and will win this motor race. If Kroenke does this, this is history.
Well, this is up to Martin Kroenke, because not only is he behind, he's behind Alexius Iacolo as well. He's got to get through. He's got to get through Antoine Higeland, who's yet to come down onto lane, and a whole slew of traffic. So now it's down to catch 25 seconds in less than 18 laps. It's possible, Will. It's very much possible, but it's going to be a case of how he navigates himself. He's not going to leave himself much opportunity with Gregor Hutu. He's not going to leave himself much opportunity with Mitchell de Jong. Now look at de Jong. That gap is under 3 seconds.
Yes, the gap is going on right now. It is under 3 seconds, as de Jong did a 109.2 that last time by, 109.484 for Gregor Hutu as they work themselves out the final corner. Let's go on board with Mitchell de Jong. Let's see what the lap times are going to be. Last pit stop time for de Jong is a 4.1 second, as the gap is just under 3 between P number 1 and P number 2. And lap gaps, 3 attempts that time gained by Mitchell de Jong. And Jake, this is what we've wanted to see in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series in a very long time, as Alexei Yakola gets past Antoine Higglin as Higglin is on towards pit road. But we have been dreaming for races like this for so long.
We have, and we've been wanting to see these classy races that end up being all about how do I gain, and just not knowing who's going to be the winner at the end as Martin Kroenke wins another race by running away from the field. This is what drama is all about. We don't know who's going to win. It still could go any one of 3 ways, but more likely it's going to be any one of 2. De Jong versus Hutu. Now, step up Mitchell de Jong. You've got a 5-time world champion to beat, and this is going to kickstart the season that he wants. Let's not forget here, Will, Mitchell de Jong has said, and I say it again and again, this is the last chance.
Yeah, so on board Mitchell de Jong, RaceSpotTV, fan immersion, as we've got ourselves 16 to go. Marcus Jensen has lost a place there to Joshua Rogers, P number 8 on track. And I want to just address something 1 second, because yes, I agree with what people are saying on YouTube right now, that normally if you overhype stuff, then it becomes cliche. This is a race that we never thought in 2018 we were going to have right now, because there are still 4 people who can win this motor race. Gregor Hutu, Mitchell de Jong, Alexei Yakola, and Martin Kroenke. Heck, even Frank Shawhorse still has a shot at victory. One thing I was thinking about as we were doing that RaceSpotTV fan immersion there, Johnny, is what do you do now as a motor racing driver? Because with Gregor Hutu, he's on older tyres, and he's now got to defend, and Gregor Hutu is better at attacking than he is at defending.
Yeah, this is a tough situation as a driver, because you think you can keep him behind, and you think it's going to be one of those fairy tale stories, but just remember that for every fairy tale story you hear, there are 99 stories of failure you don't. And so right now for Hutu, if you're a sitting duck and Mitchell de Jong is 0.3 to half a second a lap quicker than you, it's going to be a tough situation on that straight. So I think Hutu lost it just by pitting early. He still has the lead at the moment, but right now, the way this looks, it looks like Mitchell de Jong may possibly win this race. I want to throw the questions on you, because I personally think if de Jong gets this right and makes the move, he's going to win this race. But hey, who knows?
I really don't know who's going to win this motor race. And also, it's worth noting that Kroenke is now 8 tenths of a second behind Alexei Yakola. 14 in a row there, Jake. Looking for 15, but I think the one thing that's going to haunt him is that mistake he had here on turn number 4.
It's not often that you see Martin Kroenke with a mistake. It's so rare. It's like trying to touch Midas and hope that you turn into silver and not gold. Yeah. That's just how rare of a mistake Martin Kroenke has. 4 seconds, it costs him in the long run. Alexei Yakola will now have to play defense for the podium. And let's not forget that Martin Kroenke, I don't think, has been off the podium since 2015 at a certain Phillip Island race. That's how long it's been since he's been off the podium even. So in terms of that streak, we're talking about a streak that lasts, what, 30 races, 35 races there or thereabouts? Kroenke wants a podium at least. He's keeping himself in the championship. He won't care that he's lost this one. He will care about the fact that he'll be losing points to Hutu and to de Jong, and there's only now Daniel Arendt in the middle.
Yes. as we've got the lap times here between Hutu and De Jong. And while Hutu has lost a second in the last 3 laps to the driver of Mitchell De Jong. So De Jong is charging. 1.7 seconds is the gap right now, and there is lap traffic in the way of Arendt, as we talked about here, Johnny. But now De Jong is going to be Coanda's saviour, because if Coanda get 15 wins in a row as a team, that I think Kroenke will take that as much as Arendt on towards pit road as well. So De Jong, that's clean space.
That's conspiracy theories, possibly. Coanda colluding with radicals. Of course, they're not, as Arendt sticking to his strategy and doesn't want to get in the way of a potential race win here for De Jong. And that's a perfect thing for Mitchell. You're always sitting behind lap cars, and even though you're in a virtual cockpit, sometimes you just make hand signals and hope that someone walks past your house and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And you're in the middle of a world championship race, but they don't know. It's stuff like that that you feel like a real race car driver sitting in a virtual cockpit.
Yeah, you do. And a lot of these drivers have many different ways of racing. By the way, out of the race today, Olli Pakila, Kazuki Umeshima, Martin Piatella, Ricardo Orozco, and Freddie Rasmussen. And actually, we talk about retirees in this race. These are some of the biggest drivers who are out on the event today here, Jake.
Yeah, there are, and a lot of mistakes have happened from drivers who should have had an opportunity to win, likes of Piatella, likes of Rasmussen. Kroenke, for example, now, though, he is right on Alexius Yakala's tail. He is the quicker driver. Another 2/10 taken off for that last lap. This is the fight for the podium. He's got nothing else really to fight for unless De Jong and Hutu come together on circuit. And now that I am not ruling out with Coanda's history.
Have you ever, indeed? As we go and look on board in Martin Kroenke, currently in P number 4. We're going to bring in our social media expert of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, Jack Stiles. And Jack, this has been one of those races for the ages.
It's been full of action. There's always something over here going on as Martin Kroenke is going to look down to the inside to turn 1. He's going to get up into P3 as there. Well, but it just shows this race has been so action-packed so far today. Kroenke is back on the podium. Is going to be where he wants to be. His next target is going to be Mitchell De Jong just a bit further up the road. But social media has been alight with everyone today, and it's been such a pleasure to report on this race because it's been so action-packed and it's been so unpredictable, and we've still got about 10 laps left. This last 10 laps is just going to be full of action.
Yeah, as Kroenke works himself past that traffic, as we do as well. Leading the race is this guy, though. It is Gregor Hutu. He is leading by 0.8 of a second over the driver of Mitchell De Jong. De Jong has closed it down to less than 1 second as they work themselves now out of the final corner towards the start-finish line, and the gap is 0.7 of a second as they come through. And last time by, well, Johnny, it was 0.3 faster for Mitchell De Jong. Coanda versus Team Redline. It's back again.
Yeah, and it's come to the final 10 laps as well. And there not too much lap traffic in front. So De Jong should be able to make a clean move if he can actually do it. This could be a fairy tale story for Hutu, but Balazar's Ramagnac in front, and the Vortex Sim Racing car will probably get out of the way. It's always so depressing when you get lapped, by the way. You just let the other drivers through and you're like, I really wish I was in that position. But there you go. That's just the way it is sometimes. You have to improve your pace. Through Nuki Heights goes Hutu. And look at the gap just visually as well, Will. You can see just on screen. Mitchell De Jong just step by step, corner by corner is just, wow. He's reeling him in, and he's going to make that move sometime soon for sure.
Yeah, and Jake, it's going to be a case of not if, but when. I think De Jong is going to make a move. There is one driver ahead. That is Balazar Ramagnac in the Logitech Vortex Sim Racing car. But this is going to be a showdown to the end. Gap down now to less than 0.4 of a second as in towards turn number 1. De Jong again close 0.3 at last time by.
Well, Mitchell De Jong's looking. He can't afford to stay here too long. He doesn't want to get caught in the dirty air. He doesn't want the tyres to go off the boil or the engine to overheat. He's got so much that he has to micromanage at this situation into turn number 4 of Honda. He comes along and he will just sit in the track and wait for the chance to present itself. No mistakes from De Jong. He will get a chance at Gregor Hutu, who is on the older tyres. And crucially enough, Mitchell De Jong has the advantage and has to use that advantage. But you can see in the middle sector just how much he struggled, Will, to keep with Gregor Hutu.
Yeah.
I think he's waiting for a more clear-cut opportunity, one where he doesn't have to worry about a certain Hungarian driver in front.
Also, Martin Kroenke has gained over the last 2.5 laps, a second and a half over Mitchell De Jong. But here's the thing, De Jong can play now with the driver of Gregor Hutu and make it very interesting towards the end. We've got 8 laps to go. Kroenke needs a miracle right now, Jake, but you've got yourself Mitchell De Jong.
You got yourself Mitchell De Jong. Gregor Hutu's last win was Nürburgring 2016. That's how long he's been waiting for another chance to get up onto the step of the podium. Mitchell De Jong, even longer than that. I don't think he's had a win in Coanda colours. I'm not too sure about that one, but you're seeing now it comes down to who can get going the furthest. The more the mind games come into play, Martin Kroenke will relish in that. He will want to charge that down. I still think he's a bit too far. He needs them to scrap. But right now, Mitchell De Jong, he's doing the wise thing. He's not going to go for the move he would have done 3 years ago as an Orion race team driver. The bold, brash, down the inside, make my move. No, he's grown up with Global Rallycross. He knows he picks and chooses his timing.
Yeah, and that's the thing there, Johnny, is that Mitchell De Jong, he's long started PJ Sturgis in terms of the most accomplished sim racer in the world. 7 laps to go at the line. And well, De Jong, he's charging, but he knows when to fight.
He does. He's more than experienced, but I mean, this is why I was a bit reserved in saying, okay, De Jong's probably going to pass Hutu, but he may struggle with it. Something's happened here. And I mean, the dirty air effect in this car is not that dramatic. The slipstream effect as well, ironically, is not that dramatic of an effect either. But for some reason, Hutu just, I think it was a couple laps ago, I saw him exiting Siberia, and I said, where did that come from? Just insanely quick. Here he comes to Siberia again. He takes a nice line through here. He seems to make this corner work well. De Jong now stretching himself, getting closer and closer, but oh man, this is going down to the wire, and I wasn't expecting this.
7 laps to go, and we've got a showdown. And it doesn't involve Martin Kroenke. Kroenke is closing, but he's not closing at enough rate of knots to make this happen. Jack Styles, social media, what's going on?
Everything looks sort to be okay at the moment, Will. Obviously, everyone's just settling down for the last few laps of this race, and 6 laps remaining, and I think it's going to be special. I did a little bit of a poll earlier to see, asking the community whether you think the streak will be broken with Kroenke. At the moment, looks like it will. 56% of you said it would, as well as actually looking back towards the lead. Some action's happening as well. Everyone's getting a bit close. You can tell the pressure has just been ramped up.
You know when we're having fun here in the broadcast booth, when we start laughing, because De Jong right now, right behind Gregor Hutu, in towards turn number 4. They come once again, and well, Jake, wow!
This is the moment now. This is the closest that Mitchell De Jong has been, but again, he struggles through Siberia. The dirty air effect brings 0.3 of a second back to Gregor Hutu's favour, and now up Lukey Heights, this becomes the waiting game. This becomes, when do I decide to make that move? It's 5 to go at the line, and if you're Mitchell De Jong, you hope that you can do it sooner rather than later. You hope you can break away from Gregor Hutu. You hope that you have that opportunity now, heading through turn number 12. It looks close, Will. I think there's going to be this opportunity into turn number 1. Look at the gaps come down, though. 0.3 of a second, down to 0.2 of a second, down to 1/10, and still not quite there, but this could be the chance.
Yeah, they come in towards turn number 2, into the southern loop, as they will come once again, and Hutu retains the race lead. As he does so, he has done so for the past 15 laps or so. They work themselves down towards turn number 4 once again. Behind there is the driver of Kroenke! Down to the inside, and Hutu's off!
Wow. Both of them coming together, Will, at turn number 4? Could you write that? I said there could be controversy, but once again, De Jong's through. Hutu's got away with it somehow, but that was a case of, no, you go. No, you go. We'll both go.
That's so British. It's unbelievable.
And more importantly here, just have a look at this because, I mean, how far is Kroenke behind? He's still 10 seconds. I think that's a bit too far behind, but God, that became close. I think Gregor Hütter was just indecisive, Will.
He just overshot the corner.
Yeah, well, he overshot the corner, but De Jong as well. Hütter's like, should I defend? Should I not? And De Jong, at the same time, was also indecisive. He didn't know whether to attack or whether Hütter was defending. And here we go. Hey, positions have changed. These results ain't going to be reversed. No live stewards.
Hütter
if De Jong wins this race, it's going to be final.
Hütter cracked under pressure there, Jake.
I'm not sure about that. I still think there was a bit of contact because he was down at the corner. He made the corner, and I think he sped up a bit. I think there was contact, Will. I will say that there may be a bit of damage on the front wing of Mitchell de Jong's machine, but that, I think, you may say, Will, that there is no live stewarding. There is post-race protests that can be filed in, so this race still could be up in the air. They could decide to deduct points from Mitchell de Jong. But that's after the point. De Jong's got the lead. He's got the tyres. And I think, how apt is it that it is destiny instead of legacy at this point?
Yes, and I agree. With 3 laps to go at the line, it's going to be Mitchell de Jong who is going to be leading this motor race. And, well, de Jong is always classified here, Johnny, as the second saviour of Koanda Simsports. Of course, we have to give a shout-out to Hugo Luis, because of the fact that he won, of course, the 2011 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But de Jong is a driver now. He wants that World Championship. He wants it to be a 4-man World Championship, not a 3-man. And de Jong, this is his last year. We said it. We'll say it again.
Yeah, his last realistic year at that World Championship. And they lost so much time on that collision at Honda Corner 2 that they still haven't caught Balazars Remignac in front, who's keeping some honest space there. This has been a good race, though, from Mitchell. Regardless of what happened at the end, however you may want to judge that, he had the pace all day. He had pole position, don't forget. And as entertaining as this race has been, I'm still nervous, Will. I haven't even calmed down. Even though the wins, basically there's one hand on the trophy for Koanda Simsport, I'm still nervous.
Yeah, and even though Martin Kroenke won't win 15 races in a row here, Jake, we still got to talk about the fact that Koanda will win 15 races in a row.
Well, Koanda have proven that they have the strategy book, and either way they do it, they would be there. Kroenke would still be 6 seconds back if it was down to what he was going at. And let's be honest here, Hütter's not giving up with 2 to go. He was actually quicker on that last time by, even fractionally. Just remember, Will, it doesn't matter at this stage whether the gap's a 1.5 seconds or not. Gregor Hütter's going to push like he's Alain Prost. It's up to Mitchell de Jong to not do what Ayrton Senna did at the corner of Portier in Monaco.
And now it's a case of what can Gregor Hütter do in the last lap and a half of this motor race. And Johnny, this is Hütter trying his hardest, but not able to do a single thing.
Yep. Let's restart this race then. We'll start from lap 1. Give Hütter another chance. No. We won't do that. I don't think we could cope with the energy of the event too. The fans have enjoyed it. Lots of viewers watching this one. We're coming towards the closing stages of this event, and I just feel at the moment that with the pace we're seeing, more importantly, we're forgetting the bigger picture of this championship. Right now, with the way the results are at the moment, de Jong and Kroenke will be tied for the lead of the championship. Hütter will be second, down by 10 points. So not only is this just a 2-way fight, but it's a 3-way fight now. De Jong is really making a case for himself.
And Mitchell de Jong is now 1 minute away from victory in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. This driver of Martin Kroenke had won 14 races in a row, but cannot make it 15. He's currently in 3rd place. He has struggled his day in terms of strategy. 2 stops beat 3 stops is the answer. The simple way of saying it. But now we have ourselves a person who beat the streak. It is Mitchell de Jong, who works himself now down through Lukey Height and towards the last set of corners. Up the hill he comes one more time. Mitchell de Jong. Well, he's always been the number 2 driver in Koanda Simsports, but he's always been a driver that many people know could well be a world champion. out of the final corner then from Mitchell de Jong as he will win the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and the streak is finally broken. Mitchell de Jong by 1.4 seconds beats Gregor Houtu. And look at that, Coanda and Redline side by side. That in itself, Jake, there is a photo worth 1,000 million words.
It is, because you have, of course, the old veteran, the gunslinger, Gregor Houtu. He looks over at Mitchell de Jong. You got away with this one this time, kid. We'll see how you go next time out in the third round of the championship. Move on, a new race, but this, I think this is going to be the most exciting championship we are ever going to see in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series history. Yes, we had the blowout of 100% completion. Don't take anything away from Martin Kroenke. But suddenly, complacency starts to creep in. A new set of rules comes into play, and suddenly, Will, we find ourselves with a three-way dance for a title that I think is the most coveted at the moment in all of sim racing.
It's WrestleMania season, and we've got WrestleMania here on iRacing as well. One thing I wanted to say here, Johnny, is that as Houtu brings that Team Redline car on towards pit road, Team Redline did not win here today. However, they told Coanda that they are close.
They did, and this is a track we know that Redline have had a 1-2-3 up before. We've already mentioned that. No need to repeat it, but the point is that not only is Houtu quick, but Alexius Yakala, I thought, definitely had pace to win this race. Now, I don't know what happened in that final stint, but definitely early stages of the race, he was quicker than the top three at some times. He did make it work, so it's Redline as a team as a whole. Schothorst has been quicker in the past. I think we're going to see a lot more from Schothorst, and who knows where Olli Pakala would have been too. So this is great to see from Team Redline as we see some Mitchell de Jong Global Rallycross burnouts.
Yeah. Jake, best race ever?
For now. There's more races this season, I think. Yes, for now. Oh, it's such an interesting one, Will. I'd love to have a chance to talk about this incident at the end of the race, because, or at the end of when we get to next, because this has been sensational. You want drama? You've got it. You want the closest battling in the world? You've got it. You want the best drivers in the world? You've certainly got it.
And this is the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series as well. Jake, take us through then your top 10 from our results.
Mitchell de Jong, number 24, breaks the streak. A win in 1 hour, 21 minutes, 45 seconds, 1.3 clear of Gregor Houtu in the number 66. The streak broken, though, for Martin Kroenke. This ain't no pushover this season, son. This is a scrap, a claw, and a fight in position number 3 on the 3-stop. Alexius Yakala back to form in 4th. Made a couple of mistakes, though, that has to be said. Mac Backham, underrated drive, +8 to 5th, with Freek Schothorst 6th. Peter Berryman in 7th, with Antoine Higeland, his teammate, 8th. Rounding out 9th and 10th, Josh Rogers on his home track gets a top 10 on what you could class as his debut. And Kevin Ellis Jr., another respectable finish.
Yeah, Johnny, P number 11, P number 20, go.
So P11, Jamie Flute comes home after starting outside the top 10. He's going to be disappointed with that. He certainly thought he had top 10 pace today. The same for Marcus Jensen in that Burst eSport car, who comes home in 12th. David Williams, good consistent result in the 13th position, followed by Ilkka Happila. But what about Tommy Oscar, who started all the way down the back of the order from 35th, comes home in 15th. The rest of the top 20, Lochner, Jurgis, Isaac Price, who had some issues, still finishes on the lead lap. Dion Burgess and Stephen Michaels round out your top 20.
Yeah, P number 20 through 30 is going to be Brad Swaromniak then. We saw him driving in that number 17 machine up through the field. He comes home 21. Paul Ilbing 22. Alex Simpson gains positions in 23. Yav Vaz in 24. Daniel Bida in 25. Daniel Arndt-Wansing, User Saito, Michael Parkinson had issues. David Korb and Mogar Philo rounds out your top 30. There are the remainder of the results on your screen. This has been the best race in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. We're taking a break. We need to catch our breaths. What just happened indeed? Oh my God. We'll be back after this. Wow. Second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and we have had history made in one way or another because Kawan and Sim Sports have won 15 rounds in a row on the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but it was not Martin Kroenke who claimed the checkered flag. And well, Jonathan Simone, Jake Sperry, post-race show starts now. Johnny, wow!
Yeah. I don't know how to respond to that there. It's more of those speechless types of events. What I'm more impressed by is just like, okay, yeah, there was a bit of contact here and there and bumping and rubbing, but do people expect perfect racing every single race? Like, it's okay if drivers have accidents. Like, drivers aren't trying to have accidents and trying to cause arguments and all this kind of stuff. They're trying to win. They're in the heat of the moment. It's not easy to keep your cool going 340 kilometers an hour, although it is virtual, so I do sort of put a little disclaimer on that. Just fantastic racing from the guys, and more importantly, thank you, iRacing. Look at the strategy. Look what it's done to the quality of the racing.
Jake, wow.
Wow, indeed. What more can you ask from arguably the greatest road racing series in the world at the moment? Sensational battling, sensational racing. You can't ask for anything more out of a race when it gets to that crunch time, when people start looking at it. But there are two sides to that story when it comes to that incident, Will, and what a big incident to just capitalize off of what was a great strategy game today. 2 versus 3. I want so much more of this series, please.
This is literally what we've been dreaming about. I mean, I'm speechless right now. This has been what... Max Delorco, come back to the series because you can win some races right now. This has been amazing in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. We have got ourselves Mitchell de Jong. He is our race winner. And Mitchell, congratulations on 2 counts. Congratulations first on beating the streak, and congratulations on making Commando Sim Sports the longest reigning team in terms of wins in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series.
Thank you. Oh man, I'm so happy right now. It's such a long time since I've had a result like this in the series. Pretty much, I think it's been about 3 years now. At least 15 races. Yeah. So, man, it feels really good to break that finally. And you know, of course, it would have been really awesome to see Martin get his 15th there in a row. That would have been super cool, but he had some issues as well. He was on a different strategy, and it was going to be tight either way. But oh man, I'm so happy.
You've done it. You've broken this tree, and it's been. We've been staying on the stream, and we want to say this to the drivers as well. This, in our opinion, is one of the greatest races in the history of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. How did it feel being in the car?
Really good, honestly. We were trying to decide on the strategy kind of pretty early on. We were switching all the time. Then obviously you saw the split happen, and I was a bit hesitant. I almost lost the car my second to last lap of my first stint. Just on the straightaway even, it was so loose. So I was really nervous about the race, but you know, Gregor was extremely quick at pretty much all stages. If I didn't push hard in the beginning, he would catch me, and if I matched him in the beginning, he would start to catch me at the end. So it was hard finding that balancing act, and you know, the last stint was amazing. We tried to stay out a bit longer to have a bit of a strategy towards the end, and yeah, when the car is that light on fuel towards the end of the race and you're trying to hunt, it's just the best feeling ever.
You got the victory for the second round of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. And again, we know that this is likely to be the last year that you're going to run in this series. Championship, is it in your head yet?
Well, for me, I'm going to try to continue as long as I can in the series, but, you know, you never know with my race schedule. This year is the most likely that I can do the full schedule, which pretty much still looks on par. So I'm really, really excited about that. But, you know, with such a long championship and so much competition, you just really have to take it one race at a time, do your best each time, and try to constantly improve. I'm still feel like I'm getting better and better each race. Just for the fact that, you know, years before, just on and off with the races I could do, but it feels really good to get some consistent races in, and just want to keep trying to build from here, and hopefully down the road we can make it towards the ultimate goal. So we'll see. 2 questions.
Number 1, talk us about what you're doing this year in terms of Global Rallycross, and number 2, who do you want to thank?
Yeah, so we'll see with all the championships and stuff like that, which series and everything, what car, of course. You know, it's always the difficult part kind of in the off season, but we still have a couple months till it all starts up. So we'll find out soon. And of course, for people I'd like to thank, of course, all my teammates. Especially a really, really big thank you to Marty. He did so much work with developing the car. We struggled here quite badly in 2016, and you know, a pretty big revamp of everything. And you know, credit should go to him. He had a really good performance in qualifying. I didn't see what happened to him in the race, but he was running really strong as well. And then, of course, to all our other teammates that did the work and worked on strategy. And yeah, all our partners, Virtual Racing School, Huizingveld, Joel Real Timing, and Warren Design, SimQuip, VTech, RaceSpot, of course, you guys for for giving us a great broadcast and the Lord.
Well, thank you very much, Mitchell de Jong. Of course, at this moment, I want to say thank you to the people that get it done for us as well. They are Andy Warner and One Design for our overlay design. TV cameras brought to you by Isman Barrow. Overlay animation by Simon Grossman and live tone and scoring by Nick Thyssen. One thing I want to say here, Jake, is that Martin Piatella is one of the most unlucky guys in sim racing right now.
He is, but I think today he, in a sense, does slightly have himself to blame a little bit for putting himself in that situation. I mean, turn number one, you're up there at the front of the field. It's the first time you've been up there in quite a while, and you make contact with Frederick Rasmussen. Okay, that's your warning shot. But Alexei Usiakala was always going to go for the move. Alexei Usiakala was always going to try and attempt that move. And he left the door open for that move to be initiated. And that, for Martin Piatella, he needs to be more decisive about closing down opportunity and making sure he actually keeps a clean vehicle.
Jonathan Simone stood by with second place here today. That is Gregor Hutu, who almost broke the streak himself, but not quite, Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. Almost returned to the top step of the podium, but the number 66, the 5-time world champion, I'm speaking to him now. And Gregor, describe, the first thing we really want to talk about is you just describing that sort of end battle with Mitchell de Jong. From my perspective, it looked like Mitchell was going to go for that outside line into turn 4, but then sort of switch to the inside. You were both indecisive, but tell us from your perspective how it went.
Yeah, I guess there's always two sides. I knew I had to be pretty aggressive with defending because my tires were pretty much gone on that last stint. I tried to do the undercut and hold on to the finish, but yeah, couldn't quite make it. And yeah, I knew he might make a move there, so kind of moved to the inside, tried to defend, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's two sides to every passing attempt, so but yeah, it was fun anyway.
Yeah, and it seems like 50% of the fans are on one driver's side and 50% are on the others.
I think it was like that at Interlagos too, so like I said, two sides.
No, exactly. And you know what? I just think the fans should just enjoy the close battles at the end. And that's something I have to ask you. This is exciting now. Not only are you into the title fight and Martin in there, but now you have a third driver in of Mitchell de Jong. And if I'm not mistaken, those two are leading the title and you're only 10 points behind. Is this very exciting? Have you been in a three-way title fight before? And it's been quite some time.
Yeah, it was a while ago, maybe 2011, something like that. So a few years. But yeah, the races have been exciting, the two first races, so I think the changes to the car and tires have really spiced up the racing, so really enjoying it. And hey, my start was pretty good, so something magic happened after the previous race. You know, getting a good start always makes the race a lot easier, so hopefully can repeat that in the following races.
It wasn't because of the updates, was it? We know the clutch updates came in.
No, I just learned how to start.
Maybe you should. Maybe Sebastian Jobs should pay for some lessons with you or something, because he needs to improve those too. But
yeah, I can give him a few tips.
Sebastian, go PM Gregor on the forums or something, and he'll sort you out. But one thing I want to just quickly ask you: in qualifying, we saw something abnormal where drivers went for that one lap qualifying run. Now we know because of the start line and where it was positioned, you couldn't really go for those two runs. But Mitchell went for that 2-lap run and ended up getting pole. Did you think all you guys who went on the 1-lap run in qualifying made a mistake there?
It's difficult to say. To be honest, I didn't even try that technique in qualifying. So, but you know, my lap wasn't really perfect. So. I think there was a chance to get pole even with just the 1 lap. But yeah, had a couple of slides here and there. So, But yeah, something to improve for the next race.
And final thing, you've got to be encouraged by the pace of your team today. Olli Pakala had technical issues, so didn't finish, but Shotos 23 seconds away from the win. Alexei could have been closer too. He missed his pit stall. Other stuff happened. Very encouraged by your team at the moment. Very quick pace, and I think if they just show maybe a half a tenth improvement per lap, that's going to get them in the clutches for competing for those race wins.
Yeah, it's been great to see. I mean, we have put in quite a bit of work, definitely more than last year, and it's kind of paying off in the results, or maybe not in the results so far, but at least in the race pace and stuff. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it up.
Hey, good stuff. There you go, Will. 5-time world champion Gregor Hutu. He's back in it. He's back to form. I like to see it.
He is, and he comes home second place here today in the second round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Third place is the driver of Martin Kroenke. And, well, I've got one question for you, Martin. How do you feel now you haven't beaten?
Well, a little bit sad, of course, but it's not the end of the world. It's still a reasonably good result, and the championship is still open, no DNF, so I can't be too sad about it.
Jake Sparrow, take over.
Well, Martin, let's talk about your day, because the streak is the only thing that anyone's going to be talking about with you coming out of this race, but I think that everything else in it is far more important. Qualifying didn't work out in your favour. You started position number 5. It's not likely to be so far down the order, but is that something that you got caught out with here today in qualifying, or was that something that you could put down to maybe as not having that 10th?
At the end of the day, this track is always really difficult if you only have one lap available, and I didn't really push hard enough, especially in turn 3 this time around. Broke a little bit too early and pretty much lost a 10th already there compared to Mitchell. And yeah, the rest of the lap was okay, but that one little mistake meant starting P5. Of course, not happy about it, but yeah, can't change it now.
Definitely can't change it, but the opening lap's always a very interesting scenario. Of course, you see Freddie Rasmussen go off in front of you. You see Gregor and Marty have this scrap, and you need to get past as well. Do you feel that the circuit lended itself in terms of overtaking today, and do you think that your decision to go on the 3-stop was the right one?
The decision, I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it would have been nearly equal. I think if the mishap in lap 48 wouldn't have happened, you're probably talking about below 4 seconds between P1 and P3. So I think both strategies are about equal. It's just a matter of, can you get past people on old tires quick enough if you're on fresh rubber? That doesn't seem to be as much of a problem here. And regarding opening laps, passing actually isn't particularly easy here, especially if there's a DRS train. If you have 2 cars essentially in a DRS train, and the sort of first car that has DRS doesn't get past the lead of the train, you're going to be stuck, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it.
Well, not much you can do, but what did happen on lap 48? Because we were baffled.
The sim minimized on me. Technical glitch, I don't know where it came from exactly, but essentially the same issue that I had in Monza last year.
Wow, so not often that you get to see something like that happen, but of course, it is very ironic, but you find yourself now with an opportunity to get yourself back at Gilles Villeneuve in a couple of weeks' time. Do you feel that Gilles Villeneuve will be this chance to recuperate and then start to make this push forward?
Yeah, I mean, Montreal has always been a good circuit for me. I think from 2014 onwards, the results always have been really good there, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, no worries. Before we let you go, any shout-outs to sponsors?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I'd like to thank my teammates, especially Marty. He has put in a lot of hours into preparation for this one, and the setup has been essentially primarily developed by him, and it was really good job, so thanks to him. Then, of course, also thanks to the spotters that did the strategy calls today, to our sponsors, to Virtual Racing School, to Heusingfeld, SimQuip, Joel Real Timing, BTEC, also to you.
No worries, of course, Martin Kroenke finishing home in position number 3, but Will, the last 2 races have seen Paps come in for the finish of, what, under 5 seconds there or thereabouts? Not often that you get to see that in a Formula 1 race.
We don't. And this is the thing. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is really booming in terms of its competition right now. I want to talk to the driver who came home outside the podium here today, but Matt Backham. For co-owner Sim Sports, you got the victory, you got P number 3, and you got P number 5. How's it been going for you?
Yeah, I guess looking at it from a team perspective, it's not a bad result. I don't know. I'm still not happy with what I'm doing. I think my race pace is really excellent. I don't know if I'm as quick as Martin, Gregor, and Mitchell. I think they're just a little bit out of reach. But if I just qualify better than anywhere outside the top 10, then I feel like I can do so much more in the race and really be a lot closer up front than I am currently. Because now I always have to do all the work in the final stint and overtake everyone. And even though it's fun, I would rather have a good result instead.
You gained up 8 positions in this event here today, from P number 13 to P number 5. Phillip Island, talk about the overtaking situation at this track and also the pit strategy.
Well, overtaking, it's not that difficult. The straight is so long, and really whenever I have to overtake someone, I am on pressure tires anyway, so I have such a good run out of the turns. And then with DRS open, you just pretty much fly by, so that's really no issue. And I suspect it's going to be similar on all tracks. If you just have pressure tires, it's not going to be that difficult to pass. And driving-wise, I'm not a fan of the track, but yeah, next up it's Montreal, which was one of my favorites, so I really hope I can sneak my quali there and then proceed to do better in the race.
I want to talk about Montreal because, of course, it is my favourite racetrack in the world outside of Indianapolis. And that track is perfect for overtaking.
Yeah, it certainly is. The straight is super long. The race I had last year was pretty good there. Even though I had damage on that one already, I still finished quite strong there, and obviously won in the Pro Series twice with some overtakes. So yeah, I hope I get a good result again, and I think overtaking there might even be easier than here. Yeah.
Before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to?
I just want to thank the team and our sponsors, so Virtual Racing School, Husclub Engineering, Sidquip, Unwear Design, Pytech, and yeah, you guys for broadcasting, JRT, and big thank to Marty, who did a lot of setup work this week. I wasn't that comfortable with the setup initially, but I guess looking at the race result, it wasn't too bad, so I'm really happy with that.
Matt Backham there, coming home in P number 5 in the race here today. And well, Johnny, we've talked about this being potentially the best race ever in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but we're heading ourselves to Montreal.
The best racetrack
in the world outside of Indy.
No, I don't like... No, I'm joking. I was going to say I don't like Indy, but that would have kicked me out of the broadcast by you. But Indy's a great track, but no, Montreal is certainly my favorite racetrack in the world.
Best road course in the world.
All right, if we say so. But I've been there in person. I've been to Albert Park. I was there last week at Albert Park, which again, they're still selling tomato sauce for money. It should be for free. We'll argue about that another time. But Montreal, I mean, you talk about tight circuit. It suits the aggressive driver. You want, early turn in. Drivers who can brake late are really good at this circuit too. Overtaking's not easy. It's not difficult there. And we haven't been there in the McLaren when we're making 2 or 3 stops a race.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a track with a lot of bumps in the braking zones, lots of brake wear too. God, this is going to be a technical challenge for the drivers. I love that circuit so much. And I have to wait 2 weeks to go there, which is the annoying part.
Jake, in 2 weeks' time, we are going to possibly have a better race than this. And that's a hard thing to say because this has been quite potentially the best race in the history of the World Championship Grand Prix Series.
It certainly can be considered that way, and I think that you need to look at what happened after lap 69 to really get a feel of how drivers feel heading towards the circuit of Gilles Villeneuve, because Hutu and de Jong, it didn't just finish on the final lap through the southern loop, Will. There was more contact between the pair of them, so what I definitely can say is that this is more than just sim racing friends. This is more than just some hobby. This is personal. This is business. And this is sim racing gold.
So even though Commander Sim Sports were able to get themselves 15 in a row, the streak is broken. And no longer is the battle between Gregor Hutu and Martin Kroenke going on in terms of who can win the most in a row. In terms of the championship standings, it is, however, tied at the top. 170 points right now between two drivers, Kroenke and De Jong. Kroenke winning the first race of the championship, and De Jong winning the second race of the championship. It will come down to what happens next here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We thank you so much for being a part of our coverage here this afternoon as I scratch my iRacing tattoo. We'll talk to you all next time. We'll go to Canada, to Montreal. We'll go to the third round of the championship, and maybe the best race in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series will be beaten. Until then, Jake Sperry, Jonathan Simone, Will Vincent, we'll talk to you all next time. Good night, here from Phillip Island.